Well, there will be no guttural yell this morning. How about one nice guttural fart? Because that's how you need to start off a show after you get swept by the Seattle Mariners. But happy Monday, everybody. Great to be back with you. Despite what you may think, we are excited to be here this morning and fired up to talk about the real lackluster 3-game set this weekend out at Petco Park. And we will. We absolutely will. We've got 4 hours to explore that space and really dive in on it and talk about everything else that went on in the world of sports and baseball and life, because that's why you tune into Ben and Woods. Hopefully have some laughs for you this morning. That being said, I'm Woodsy. Paul Reindl is the executive producer of the program. Good morning, Paulie.
Hey, how are you?
Doing great. Good to see you again. Got to see Paulie yesterday at the another Tier 1 massacre. We can talk about that in a second. Super great, super fun, really enjoying it. Just a lot of losing this weekend. Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor. Now, you shot an 81 this weekend. That's not bad.
Not bad, yeah.
It's not losing by any stretch.
No, it actually hit the ball pretty well, but otherwise fairly quiet weekend. I've kind of had to concentrate on how I'm going to turd polish this morning. Sometimes
tough.
it's more.
Did you bring the cream?
Sometimes it's more challenging than others. I got the chamois, I got the cream, I got the wax.
Where's the? Yeah, you're gonna buff. This is one where you need like the industrial buffer.
Oh yeah,
like
the one that spins back and
Yeah.
forth. Yeah, this is going to be a little bit tougher than usual this morning.
I had to buff the floors one time with one of those real.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I was in jail, but
Looks like
it was. I had to
Looks
do
like fun for the first 5 minutes.
it. Yeah, I did do it when I was in jail one time. We don't have to talk about
You
it.
got assigned floor duty, huh?
But I did, and I got to use the best part about it was that I got to use that buffer thing, and it really is. It's not easy. I mean, you see them working that thing in the movies, and you're like, oh, it looks. And it's.
Did you get to put the yellow safety signs up?
Yeah,
like it's
it was
caution, wet floor.
It was kind of fun, but it also the thing has got a mind of its own.
No,
It's not as easy to control as you might think.
No power steering on the thing.
Like moving it around. So, yeah, not my finest moment. But hey, listen, man, look at me now. Look at me now, sitting here with Ben and Paul and all the tier ones out there. And yeah, you got some doomers in the chat. That's to be expected. I was pretty fired up yesterday when I got home, and again, I was emotional. And I tweeted, man, the fans deserved better at Petco Park this weekend. And I do. I stand by that. That's just pretty spicy for me lately. I've been fairly positive about the team because, well, I mean, at the end of the day, they're 10 or 9 games above 500 right now. They have had a good start to the season, certainly. There are massive issues with this team that we can look at, certainly. But, I was a little spicy, Ben, because I'm coming off again, 5th loss in a row for our beloved Tier 1 baseball team. And just another weird game where you make out the lineup, you're in contact with the guys, and you're like, you're close, right? Because you're my 3-hole hitter. Yeah, I'll be there. And then 3-hole hitter walks up in the middle of the 2-hole hitter's AB. Doesn't have time to put his cleats on, hits in Vans in full uniform and Vans in for the first AB. Center fielder who's the 4-hole hitter.
That'd be like Manny Machado strolling in at about 6:43 for a 6:40 start.
Yeah. And he's like, bro, you're up. and then the 4-hole hitter got there like 3 minutes before the game. The 6-hole hitter did not show up until it was almost time for him. So again, we lose that game 8-3. And we've lost 5 straight, and I'm flummoxed by it, and I'm not mad. I love the guys. I put it in the group chat last night. I said I love you guys. We'll figure it out. I do. I love them. Everybody battles and competes, but I'm just not used to losing. So you had a lot of L's this weekend, certainly, but there were some dubs in there too. We had a really nice family weekend. Family got along quite well this weekend. It was, I don't want to say refreshing, but at the end of the day, it's kind of refreshing. I was kind of panicked because Taylor's T-ball season's come to an end. Bo has one more game. It's this week. But one of the dads at school put together a little sandlot game. And it was kind of cool. Like, we had a bunch of kids that don't play together, came out, and we did a sandlot game. And I'll tell you something, man, and you guys out there listening can probably relate to this. My 7-year-old is you guys know Bo, he's a very competitive kid, and he really hates to lose also. And he's a kind of a take charge guy. And it comes off the wrong way sometimes to me and his mom and with his friends, I think. And as he navigates friendships in life, like I know when to push, I know when to pull back. I know when to ride somebody, I know when to pull back. I know when
the bossy friend.
He's kind of the bossy friend.
Yeah, everyone has one.
Correct.
Yeah.
You've got one, it's me. I get it. It's no big deal. But there's something, with age, you learn when to pull back, right? Like, hey, man, there's probably a time to say, hey, we need to get our S together. And then there's a time to just say, just let it flow and good things will happen. And he's learning that, right? Well, I realized it was like being struck by lightning. So we go out we show up for the Sandlot game. I bring a couple of the neighborhood kids with me. There's about 10 kids. And we get out to the field, and the other dads are awesome, and I know them from school. But I coach 2 teams. I run and play on a team. Baseball's my life. And I get out there, and I start just running a practice. I just line them all up. I'm hitting them grounders. Let's roll 2. And then
they're like, I thought we were gonna play baseball,
right?
And
then I go, yeah. I just want to get you guys warmed up, and then let's pick our teams, and we'll play some Sandlot ball. And guess who's pitching? Guess who's taking charge? And I go, oh, I'm him. He's me. And I just go. I went home to Hannah. I go, it's my fault. It's my fault. If that is in fact a fault, I go, it's my fault. I showed up. And the other dads, they weren't like I just kind of took the bull by the horns, you know what I mean? And said, let's make this fun and organized. I'll just run it. I'll just do it. It's fine. I'll just do it. And so I did it. And they had a great time. And the other dads were awesome. But I thought to myself, idiot, you can't yell at him for this. He's just a little version of you. You know what I mean?
So is it possible that psychologically the chaos stresses you? And when you feel like you take charge and there's organization, then in your mind, you feel a lot more at peace with the situation. But if you don't, and it starts getting a little chaotic, then you start feeling stressed internally.
There's no question. There's absolutely no question. And again, the whole it's loose, just let them play, have fun. Great. Absolutely. But also I do feel like they're 7, they're 8 years old. They do need a little bit of structure in a Sandlot game. Like, I'll just throw BP, you guys make the plays. And that's what I did. Called outs and had fun with it. Certainly. And the other dads were playing the field. It was fun. Like, it was really a fun day. But it strikes you, man. It hits you like a bolt of lightning when you're like, what am I up this kid's rear end for about this behavior when it's very clear where he gets it from? The good, the bad, all of it. Like, I do that, so of course he's going to do that. Of course he's going to translate that when he goes out to play with his friends. He's going to take charge.
It's interesting because in life you need some leaders, you need some followers.
Yeah,
not everybody can lead at the same time, or you'll have chaos.
Yeah,
not everyone can just be followers, and there's no leaders because then you'll have chaos. But the real trick is, can you be one of those people who fills whatever hole is necessary?
Correct.
If there's no leaders, hey. All right, I'll jump in and organize that. If there's a couple people who are stepping up, I'm fine to take orders and just be a part of the team going forward and be okay with it either way.
Yeah, no question. And we had this kind of our plans this weekend certainly changed. I think Paulie's did as well. Paulie was planning on going to the game Friday night against the Mariners, and we were planning on going to the SDFC game on Saturday night. And we had kind of this awkward, like, looking at each other all day going, are we going to, did you get the tickets? Has anybody texted you? Because there's supposed to be 18
still doing
of us.
this?
Has anybody reached out? And I was like, no, I don't think anybody's into it. And we're looking at each other with the, like, should we bang it, or just want to bang it? She's like, I don't know if you want to bang it. We can bang it.
You guys had a whole small section.
Yeah, there would have been 18 of us.
Oof.
And none of the other parents texted to be like, hey, we still doing this? So we kind of took that as a sign.
Everybody just assumed everybody else forgot.
And we did not. We ended up looking at kind of one other couple and saying, you guys want to just bang this thing tonight? So we did. And you know what? Frankly, I want to get to a game. I want to take my kids to a game. I want to go with my family. I want to go at night. Just wasn't ready. It was rainy. It was cold. Bro, and then you see the score. 0-0. I'm like, all right.
Whoa.
Sometimes
0-0.
Oh, sorry. 0-0.
Zero's okay. It's just not nothing.
Right.
It's
0-0.
either 0-0 or 0-0.
You see the 0-0 score and you go, all right, maybe I'm a genius. Maybe I'm a genius for bailing on this game. But so we didn't go. And my kids didn't care. They were dead asleep by 7:30.
If you're a true soccer aficionado, a football fan, as it were.
Oh, you love a 0-0 tie.
Yeah, you can appreciate the well-played, scoreless draw.
Of course.
For what it is. Good opportunities, some good saves, that kept it going. The crossbar came into play, the post a couple of times. And you can, but I kind of agree with you. If I go to a game, I want to see someone score.
I want to see some action out there. Paulie, though, you guys decided to pull the plug Friday.
Same idea on Friday night with the Padres game. Megan was getting a headache coming on at like 3:00. Wasn't feeling it a ton. I could kind of read. I was like, I don't think she really wants to go. Check the weather. Saw the rain in the forecast. I go,
that rain changes everything.
And then watch the game. It's like, I don't know, fourth inning. It is dumping rain down in San Diego, and saw the score. And I go, yeah, we made the right choice.
Yeah.
I am happy with our decision.
It was like chilly Saturday and windy and rainy.
Third through the seventh inning was pretty steady coming down during the game on Saturday night. Not your typical beautiful Petco Park evening.
Yeah, and Diesel just said, I was at the game Saturday, SDFC. It's pretty miserable with the rain, but it was fun. Wouldn't have brought my kids, though, so good call, Woodsy. Yeah, the 7:30 start remains kind of a bugaboo for the Woods family, as those dudes are typically down 7:30, 8 o'clock on the weekend, 7:30 during the week, and it's just like, man, do we want Demon? And I was playing ball on Sunday. So if we kept them up all night, guess who's got to put up with them by themselves is Hannah. And she's like, oh man, that would kill me. But yeah, San Diego rain here just ruins plans. You look at it, even the threat of rain, and you're like, I'm out. I want nothing.
Well, there's multiple reasons for that. First of all, facilities. They're not generally designed for easy, like covered walkways and stuff you'd get at a place where it's often rainy, in a lot of indoor spaces where you can go. You just don't have that because there's no need for it in San Diego most of the time. So we're ill-equipped. Plus, let's face it, we're not rain people.
We're soft.
We don't have umbrellas in our cars. We don't have rain jackets hanging on the post by the door, ready to grab at any moment.
Next to our rubbers by the door.
We just don't think about it. We don't even have mud rooms where we would put such things when you walk in because we're not rain people. So when it happens, we're usually caught somewhat unprepared and unready for it. And you always think, next time I'm going to be ready. But then it goes 8 months and it doesn't rain again, and you stop thinking about it and worrying about it. And then you'll once again get caught somewhat unprepared the next time it rains.
And everyone always, oh, bro, don't worry. You're not going to melt in the rain. I'm like, I think I might. I actually think I might. And the thought of going down there in the cold, windy rain with, 12 kids and 6 adults or whatever, I was like, bro, another time. I am the master of, we'll just do it later. It's fine. We just do it another time. So that's what we decided to do. But other than that, man, it was not the greatest sports weekend, here in San Diego. And that's something that's been said many a Monday here.
You did tell me something before the show that I was highly impressed with. And I want to ask you about it after a quick check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Islands Restaurants. Good morning. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Off to a nice, quiet start on our roads. We have reports of a stalled vehicle on the College Avenue off-ramp westbound King Freeway. No delays for you out of Santee just yet on West 52, and everything looks nice for you coming down from the North County. Big on protein, rich on flavor. The $10 Islands Restaurants protein bowls are here for a limited time, packed with over 40 grams of protein and stacked with fresh ingredients for the flavors you love. Just in a bowl. Find your protein paradise at islandsrestaurants.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So you told me that you have mastered, I think, a very important life skill. The cast iron skillet.
Oh, yes. I was like, what did I tell him? Yeah, I did.
Steak.
I did. I finally figured it out.
You're good.
Been trying for 100 years, man, to get that. Paulie, we've talked many times on this show about you go in. We all love a good steakhouse. We all love a good steak. You go and pay through the nose at Bob's or Ruth's Chris or Cowboy Star or wherever it may be. And it's good. I mean, it knocks your socks off every time you go. And then you try to make one at home, whether it be on the grill. And you realize, the grill's really not where it's at.
I just stopped.
So you stopped entirely.
So
I've put my nose down and kept grinding.
Steaks for me became
It's
celebratory events.
Yeah, out.
Birthdays, anniversary, whatever. We're gonna go out and pay because I've had really good steaks in town.
And you're like, I can't do it.
I could name 10 different steakhouses, and it's like, oh yeah, that was the best steak I've ever had in my life. You can't replicate that.
No.
Not even going to try. So I just gave up.
I thought that until I started to replicate it.
And the worst thing is when you take the time to go, you go to a real butcher, get the prime or the Wagyu or whatever. You spend big on the meat because you feel like, oh, that's the difference. They're using better meat. And then you cook it at home and it's tough and it's chewy and it's not good. And then you feel like, I just wasted a ton of money on a great steak that I have turned into a hockey puck.
That I absolutely could have just gone out and spent that money and been waited on. They cook it for you, right? The allure of the restaurant. But I finally got it down, man. And this is like 4 in a row. So I feel like now you get 4 in you. Now I'm confident because the panic that sets in when you go and you're like, all right, I'm going to do this. And you spend the money, you get that meat home. And right before you start to cook it, you're like, okay, we can do it. I can do this. And then it never works out. But the last 4 times, the oven finished cast iron steak. And I've mastered it. I have mastered it.
Give us some pointers for everybody out there.
The number one thing that I think I resisted, and I read it 100 times, the number one thing is when you buy your good meat, you got to let it sit out for an hour. You have to. It's got to be, you don't want it room temperature, but you need it to sit for an hour. You can't do it cold. And that's what I always ran into because I would be impatient. And I'm like, I'm not going to sit here and wait for this thing. So I told Hannah, I texted her as soon as our game was over. I go, take those steaks out, put them on a plate, cover them with a paper towel. Came home, showered, got a bunch of stuff ready. And when it was time to cook them, I did. So I heated up the cast iron skillet, hot, let it sit there for a while, preheated the oven to 400. And olive oil, threw those bad boys in, set the timer. I did salt and pepper and this real special seasoning I got in Denver from John Elway's restaurant. It's Elway's seasoning. It's unbelievable. So seasoned them up, 2 minutes on one side, 2 minutes on the next, from there right into the oven for 7 minutes. Took it out. Here's the other thing. Let it stand.
Oh, yeah. You got to
rest the meat for about 10 minutes. And then it looks good. You're like, and then I got that first cut into it and I went straight to the heavens. I was like, I did it again. I cut it up for the family. Everyone was so happy. Bo went seconds, thirds. I was eating the fat off this thing, bro. I was like, dang, this is the best steak I've ever. It was like the old 96er in the great outdoors. I mean, I could have eaten 4 of them. And a little butter in there. But I didn't go crazy. It was outstanding. And I do feel like now I can do this. Not that I won't go out to a nice, expensive steakhouse every now and then because they do it better. But this was so passable for home. I mean, so beyond passable. It was so good. So good.
It's a good, impressive skill. If you've got that in your tool bag to make a really good steak for a meat eater to enjoy.
Yeah, I feel like if I was single, that would be my go-to meal. To like impress like a potential.
You'd only meet
Hannah was not impressed.
Hannah was impressed, but like if I was single, when I was single, I couldn't do it. Hope you like spaghetti because I can make that with like turkey meat sauce. But now I feel like if I was
not as romantic.
It's not. I feel like if I was single, I'd be like, oh, do you like steak? Oh, don't worry, I'm gonna cook one up for you, and I think I could do it. But it was fantastic. So it's nice. So I want you. Will you try it for me soon?
I'll try it again.
Try it again.
Yeah.
I'll walk you.
We've got a cast iron.
Do you know how many things you've walked me through, Paulie, over the years? Hundreds.
A lot. Quite a few.
You call me, I'll sit on the phone with you the whole time. I'll stay with you the whole time.
I'll just set up my phone, get you on FaceTime.
My wife's in the chat, heard my single bit. I said if I was single, that would be my go-to meal.
We do a lot of hypotheticals.
Yeah,
on
it's
this
just
show.
a hypothetical, babe. That's it. You're my only one. That's
All right,
it.
you guys ready to set the menu briefly for a Monday edition of Ben and Woods? Yeah, we got a crap up coming up. We will talk about the Padres' struggles over the weekend, offensively primarily against the Seattle Mariners, but we'll dive deep into what happened this weekend. Have some soccer to talk about. A scoreless draw on Saturday night at Snapdragon Stadium. A Wave did win on Friday night, so it wasn't a complete wash of a weekend in San Diego sports. PGA Championship, basketball, lots of sports to get into today. We also have all of our regular features like Don't Do This, Take on Woods, opportunity to qualify for a trip to Las Vegas in our musical trivia competition coming up at 8:20. Paulie's got some headlines in the Rival Report, and our Monday guest, Dennis Lynn from The Athletic. Our Lynn Sider will join us at 8:35 this morning, get his takes on, the Padres' worst weekend of the season. And I know they got swept by the Tampa Bay Rays. That was not a great series either, but this one felt a little tough. I don't know if part of it was the Vetter Cup and, hyping it up and making it into something that it really.
I promise you that's not what it was.
No, not. I know that didn't cause them to play worse, but did it make this series feel a little worse after they hyped it up for so long and then you just lay a complete egg during the series as a fan?
Not for me personally.
I never want to hear Pearl Jam again. I mean, but that's, that's neither here nor there. Like, I'm pissed about it. You took a bit that was a Twitter bit and you made it official, and that's what happens when you make things official. It goes to pot.
Well, I know the Mariners also made it official, and it's gone
that's
quite
true.
well.
Went
for
well
them.
for them.
It's on the other side of the coin.
Yeah, it's a good point you made.
It just still watching it play out all weekend, it felt very forced.
Well, yeah,
you can't call it rivalry weekend when it's the Mariners and Padres. They're not rivals.
Perhaps Eddie Vedder,
if the Padres and the Dodgers got together for some charitable aspect to a rivalry, I think I'd be all for that. I think it'd be great, but it just feels weird.
Is this a sign that Eddie Vedder truly is more of a Seattle icon than a San Diego?
No, he's a Cubs fan. He's neither. He is
a Seattle icon.
He's a Seattle icon. He's a San Diego native, and he's a Cubs fan. And they didn't add up to anything good for your San Diego Padres this weekend. So,
do you think Eddie Vedder even knew the Padres and Mariners played each other?
He did. He endorsed it. Yeah, he's
there was
behind
a picture of him with the jerseys that he took while he was on tour, and he raised some money for his charity, an unpronounceable disease. Good for Bob Scanlon for learning how to pronounce the unpronounceable skin disease that they raised money to fight. I still haven't done so.
Is it EG or something?
EP, I think. Yeah. So anyway, it's not over. Padres could still come back and win the Vetter Cup. It just would take 3 wins and a lot of math in Seattle to do so later in the season. So it's not completely over yet. They have not clinched the Vetter Cup. We will talk about yesterday's game, get into the highlights, our Padres crap up. Coming up next, we are underway. Warm up done. Foreplay over. Let's get going with Ben and Woods on a Monday on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Hey players, things are about to get real here in San Diego. Introducing the all-new Hamul Casino Resort. With a 200-room hotel tower, exciting new eats and drinks, plenty of new places to play, and a luxe spa and salon. Hello, rooftop pool and deck. It's where players can play their hearts out and enjoy all the perks that come with it. It gets real this summer at the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the players' place. Hey players, things are about to get real here in San Diego. Introducing the all-new Hamul Casino Resort. With a 200-room hotel tower, exciting new eats and drinks, plenty of new places to play, and a luxe spa and salon. Hello, rooftop pool and deck. It's where players can play their hearts out and enjoy all the perks that come with it. It gets real this summer at the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the players' place.
So here's the math required to still win the Vetter Cup. Padres would have to sweep the Mariners to force a 3-3 season series split when they go back to Seattle in August, I believe. They'd also need to outscore the Mariners by at least 13 runs in that series, as they lost this series run differential by 12, 15-3. Or if they sweep them and win by 12 runs exactly, they'd also need to hit a ball harder than Rowdy Tellez's 111.7 mile an hour exit velocity, because the Mariners have that tiebreaker as well with the hardest hit ball so far of the Vetter Cup. So those are the only avenues remaining for the San Diego Padres to still claim the inaugural Vetter Cup later this year.
I don't want to be a doomer so early on a Monday, but I'm going to go ahead and concede the Vetter Cup to the Seattle Mariners. Congratulations on a nice inaugural bid, and you guys have won it. I'm not going to break my back trying to outscore them, and listen, just try to win a couple games against that team at this point. They've been tough on the Padres, man.
They go in and win the first one 10-0 on the first game of the series. It changes everything. All of a sudden, the pressure's back on the Mariners to get it done.
That's true.
But I think the most important part of the weekend, of course, was the Padres' inability to hit with runners in scoring position. And when I say inability, it's not like, they went 2 for 11 or 2 for 17. No, they went 0 for 21. With runners in scoring position. You don't really need to go far beyond there to diagnose what happened this weekend to the San Diego Padres.
Yeah, correct. And I know that all of the players, look, I had my 16 minutes of sulk, but I'm still kind of sulky about it. It was a very lackluster performance by the fellas this weekend. Again, with opportunities certainly to break through. Manny had probably his worst series of the season so far. Didn't get a hit the entire series. Look, no one expected him to keep up the torrid pace he was on, but like I was tweeting with a buddy yesterday, you can't just fall off a cliff. You know what I mean? Like again, I don't subscribe to these guys don't care. They're not trying. I don't. We know enough about this team and how they're constructed and who they are. We know that that's not the case. They're trying. They just weren't very good at all. And, the constant hat tipping to the Seattle Mariners pitching. All right, fine. I get it. It is baseball. It is a long season. All of these things are true. That was a really poor performance this weekend. There's no way to sugarcoat it. It was very, 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 very poor. They hit a bunch of home runs. We didn't. We do not hit home runs. And I think that's an issue with this team.
Jackson Merrill also kind of fell off a cliff, this weekend in terms of performance. Now, there are reports, and, you didn't hear the players really talking about it because they don't like to make excuses, that Jackson, Nick Pivetta, and several other players have been hit by a massive stomach bug / virus that is running through that clubhouse. Now,
running being the operative word,
now,
I think.
Does it look like the team is playing like they're under the weather? Kind of. Yeah, and I don't want to just say, it's an easy excuse. Every team has to play through some, bad feelings over the course of a season. And
it was so bad for Pivetta that he skipped. What was the deal? He didn't fly with the team home. There was something I read that basically said he missed 2 days of preparation. That's how bad it was for them. So, yeah, man, like an airborne food virus is what I saw. So I don't know what they were eating, but it got a few of them, and they were not playing at 100%. But again, no team is playing at 100% right now. It was pretty rough, man.
Now, are we ready with the traffic, Paulie?
Yes.
So we'll get to traffic, and then we'll go through the highlights and lowlights of yesterday's game and start with Sunday. We'll work our way backwards this weekend, but that's all coming up next year on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change, your 15-minute drive-through oil change. Just one thing to watch out for, eastbound 52 before the 805. We have reports of some wood planks in the left lane. San Diego, before you cruise out this Memorial Day, stop by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. No appointment needed, just 15 minutes, and you're road trip ready. Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Experts you can trust. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for coupons. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's a shame, it's a shame, it's a shame if they lose.
You got a problem.
Oh, a shame indeed.
I couldn't agree more.
Here are the lowlights from yesterday's game.
What the heck happened? Are you kidding me?
Can't even believe it.
It's the Padres
Crap up.
presented by Hamul Casino. Things are about to get real with the all-new Hamul Casino Resort with gorgeous rooms and exciting new eats and drinks. It gets real this summer at Hamul Casino Resort, the player's place.
We'll give it 16 minutes of salt, and then we'll, get back on the bump and figure it out.
Here's the 0-2, and Tatis swings, hits it in the air, deep to left field. Arozarena back to watch this one. Gonna go! Leadoff homer, Fernando Tatis Jr. Second straight at bat against Brian Wu that he takes him out, and this one gives the Padres a 1-0 lead. 1-1 pitch is launched to left field. Sheets is back to watch, and it's going to go. Home run, Randy Arozarena, his 6th of the year. No doubter out to left field here in the top of the 4th inning. And the Mariners have hit yet another home run. This one ties it up 1-1, their first hit of the day. Ready to go after the mound visit. Tavares batting left-handed. First and third, 2-down tie game. First pitch swinging and a line drive deep to right field. That's going to be trouble. It'll bounce and hit the wall of the Petco porch and then skip over the wall for a rule book double, which will at least for the moment save a run. Tellez comes in to score to give the Mariners a 2-1 lead, but Garver, who is going to score easily, has to stop at third base. This one is hit off the glove of King. It'll roll out to second base. Cronenworth will not even try the glove flip as another run comes in to score. Garver crosses the plate on the second infield hit of the inning. Mariners have now scored 3 times here in the 4th, and they lead it 3-1. 3-2. The pitch to Garver is hit on the ground. That's a fair ball up the third baseline, going to clank off the side wall. Arozarena comes in to score. Garver will be content with a single as Sheets sends it in. And an RBI base hit for Mitch Garver, his second knock of the day. And the Mariner lead is 4-1. Bases loaded, nobody out. The 1-1 pitch. Raleigh swings, hits it in the air to right field. Fernando in and over towards the line, reaches down to make the catch. Moore will tag and score. So a sac fly for Cal Raleigh, and the Mariner lead is now 5-1. Pizzardo throwing as this one is sent in the air to shallow left. Long run. It'll dump down in front of Sheets and Merrill. So Rivas able to trot home once that ball hit the grass. A bloop single for Rodriguez to bring home another, and it's 6-1. Second and third, 2 outs. The 0-1 pitch popped up on the infield. This will do it as Crawford comes over to the right side to make the catch and end the ball game.
2 good teams just went at each other. They threw the ball exceptionally well. They pitch well. Historically, they pitch well. They're doing it. I don't know about the entire season. Obviously, we prepped before it, and we saw it firsthand. The starting pitching was really good. Wu was really good today. All 3 of their starters were really good.
Yeah, I mean, when Fernando hit the leadoff home run and then Michael King looked really, really good for the first 3 2/3 innings.
12 batters or so.
He looked like they might win this one 1-0. I mean, Michael King might throw a complete game shutout. And then, I mean, in just a matter of seconds, Randy Arozarena hit the home run, had an infield bleeder, a double, an infield single, and a double, and it was 3-1. And then you felt like, I don't know if the Padres have it in them to come back in this game based on what we had seen all weekend long.
That's the tough part, man, is that when this team skids, Benny, they skid. I mean, it's a skid. This team is probably not going to have a lot of those 12-10 slugfests, right? Because what has led to success for the San Diego Padres early in the season has been pass the baton. Next man up, next man up, next man up. We're desperate for the 3-run homer now, and I don't know if they're expanding their zone to try to hit the 3-run homer, if that lack of slug is starting to creep its way into their psyches or into the clubhouse. I doubt very much Victor Rodriguez has pulled the brake and said, no, let's start trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark now. No, I think they're going to continue to stick to their plan. And it's hard, man, because when a plan has been successful for you, it's hard to just throw the e-brake on and say, no, let's switch everything now. I think you have seen some guys trying to do too much. I think Jackson Merrill's a great example of somebody that's trying to do too much. Great example. He wants to win at all costs, and I love that about Jackson. And I'll take the lumps with Jackson. I'll ride with him. I'll ride with Manny. I'll ride with Toddy. Whatever they want to do is fine by me. That's the way it is. But I think he's a good example of somebody that's trying to do too much. He's swinging at pitches out of the zone, up around his eyes, trying to hit the 2-3 run homer. And I understand it, man. I understand it completely. But if this team gets back to its identity, yeah, they can win ball games. But you need help. You need help. That's very evident. You need offensive help.
You can't, as you said, just tip your cap to the pitcher every single game when you lose. I thought Brian Wu was was really good. I mean, there's really little you can do other than try to be aggressive. He's going to throw strikes. I mean, in an insane amount of strikes. The guy is just constantly up 0-1, 0-2, 1-2. I mean, he's got you in pitchers counts the entire game. So your options are, well, let me see if I can try to swing at the first one. And then when you do, and you hit a line out to the left fielder or the right fielder, you've just given him, you know, he had what, a 7-pitch inning, a 9-pitch inning. And now you've given him the opportunity to go deep into the game against you as well. Or you can try to wait him out. He's not going to throw enough balls. Then you're just down 0-2, and he can get you to try to nibble, you know, bury a slider or something, or just keep working on those corners. So he's a very difficult pitcher for hitters, I think, to have success against. And, you know, the Padres were unable to really get anything going. Had a couple of opportunities, didn't get any hits with runners in scoring position when they did get guys on base, which was the story the entire series for the San Diego Padres. And our colleague Chris Ello had this stat that he posted on X after the game. Runners in scoring position, baseball's most important stat. After going 0 for 21 while getting swept this weekend, the Padres are now hitting .329 with runners in scoring position in their 27 wins and .129 with runners in scoring position in their 18 losses.
Could that all be connected, you think?
It's not rocket science. Yeah, you get runners on, you get them in scoring position, and you don't get them in.
Now that's a self-fulfilling stat. When you hit well with runners in scoring position, you score a lot of runs, which means you probably win, and vice versa. But
I think the way you look at this series, though, is Seattle wasn't great with runners in scoring position either.
They were just a little bit better.
But they hit the ball out of the ballpark 6 times. You know, they hit the ballpark out.
Yeah,
If you
look at the numbers, it wasn't as lopsided. I think they had the same amount of hits as the Mariners, or maybe one fewer. Mariners struck out quite a bit more than the Padres did in this series. It was the home runs and 1 or 2 hits with runners in scoring position. And that was the entire difference in the series. It's not like the Mariners are just so far and away a better team than the San Diego Padres.
No, they're pretty even.
I think they're fairly
teams.
evenly matched. It just the Padres did not execute and did not come through at all when they needed to in this series. You get, let's say they go 5 for 21, which is what, a 280. I think they're 6th in baseball with about a 260, 70 average with runners in scoring position. They do that. They probably score 7 or 8 more runs. They win 1 or 2 of the games. It's a completely different conversation. Yeah. But when you go 0 for 21, you're going to get swept almost every single time.
If you don't hit home runs, then you're not going to win.
Unless you get a couple of homers and luck into a 1-0 or a 2-1 win and get an absolute dominant pitching effort, you're going to get swept when you go 0 for 21 with runners in scoring position. There's just really nothing else to discuss in the series other than that. Now, the question is this a symptom of a problem or simply baseball rearing its head over the course of a weekend? I know fans will say, you can't have a weekend like that from Manny. You can't have a weekend like that from Jackson. Well, if they kept playing like they did for the last month, they'd both end up hitting like 480. Guess what? No one ever hits that over the course of the season. It wasn't going to happen. The reason why guys don't hit 480 is because eventually they're going to have a weekend like that. Everybody does in baseball. It's absolutely inevitable. You're going to go through an 0 for 10, a 1 for 18 at various points during the course of the season. Unfortunately, they kind of collided for the Padres this weekend against the Mariners.
You know, and again, man, I'm reluctant to. I do think it's time. I mean, look, at some point, the definition of insanity is, doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Why not mix the lineup up a little bit? And I'm not talking about putting Gavin Sheets out in left field or, getting Jay Hay, putting him in the 9 or moving Lockridge to the 9 and Malden out of the 8. I'm talking about the top of the order for a spark at this point. I mean, Luis Ariz, I love him. I'm his biggest fan. I don't know that he needs to be in the 2. I don't know that he needs to be in the 2.
Did he have a pretty good weekend?
He was okay. He's okay. I mean, Xander had a really.
I feel like every time I saw Luis Ariz at the plate, he got a knock.
Yeah.
And it's Merrill and Manny behind him that didn't, like, if they drive him in, it's a totally different conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, those guys they're run producers. They 5
for 11.
Yeah,
I mean, with a double and a walk. No runs and no runs batted in, though. So, he's not. He had a decent weekend. What he does, his average went up, but he did nothing that helped the Padres actually score.
He got on base.
That's not his fault.
That's not his problem.
Someone's got to
imagine him 5 for 11 in the cleanup spot, right? Little wiry Luis Ariz, who never strikes out, potentially driving in
He
runs.
also went over with runners in scoring position, just like everybody else did.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody said, Steve just said it's our idiot manager's fault because he has our best hitter hitting leadoff. That's pretty standard these days, Steve-O, to have your best hitter hitting leadoff. It really is. I think
it's certainly defensible.
Absolutely.
He gets up more often than anybody else.
Fernando likes hitting leadoff. He's very comfortable there as well. So I have no problem with him hitting leadoff. In a perfect world, wouldn't we all love to see Luis Ariz leading off with a single? Then Jackson
Merrill hits a
double. Then Tatis hits a 2-run homer, and then Manny comes up and hits obviously it doesn't work like MLB The Show. I like Toddy at the top. He likes being at the top. I think he strikes a lot of fear into the opposing pitcher when who would you rather face? Luis Ariz or Fernando Tatis Jr.? I can live with a single. It's tougher to live with Fernando Tatis Jr. being able to go bridge on you every time you're down 1-0. It happened yesterday.
Even if he doesn't, even if you walk him or he hits the single, then he's stealing seconds.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot that can happen. I mean,
it didn't work out for the Padres yesterday, but it certainly seemed to work out well for the Mariners on Friday when J.B. Crawford did the same thing with the first pitch of the game and put the Padres on their heels and behind, and they never came back. Now, the Mariners did because the Padres couldn't add on, and eventually they got to Michael King in the 4th inning, but that one run looked big at the time when Tatis got the home run. So I'm not mad about Fernando hitting leadoff.
No, I'm really not either, man. I just, at this point, Schulte's not a tinkerer. He's just not. He's not going to mix it up. He likes guys where they feel most comfortable. Okay, and you live with weekends like this, I guess. But
KG says Ariz leading off was a winning formula last season, but Tatis leading off has been very much a winning formula this season. They're 9 games above 500.
Which it took them forever to get that, last year.
They're playing
it's a winning formula.
At a clip that would get to them, the best record in franchise history, essentially. So, sometimes you just have to throw out a weekend. And if it continues, I see what you're saying. There's tinkering you can do with the starting lineup.
Just flipping Ariz and Merrill alone.
I think it's interesting.
Keeps lefty.
I just think it's interesting. I just think it is absolutely
it's worth a shot.
Interesting. Steve says you're expecting the bottom of the lineup to get on base for Tatis. How's that good logic? We don't have enough hitting behind him to hit that 2 or 3 run homer. Yeah, but again, Steve, you want Toddy. If you put Tatis in the 3, that's fewer ABs. This is a proven formula. And it's why sometimes you see Aaron Judge hitting leadoff. It's why some of the biggest, the best hitter
Kyle
leading
Schwarber.
up. Kyle Schwarber. It's
Ohtani.
Trust me, Steve, it wrecks my brain too. It really does sometimes. It wrecks my brain.
It's counterintuitive to everything we were
that we've
taught
ever learned.
and told
for
years.
It's having to unlearn this at the ripe old age of 49 and me going, no, I need speed at the top and contact 2, best hitter 3, best home run hitter 4. I need it. I need it like I need air. And
if
now
this is 1997, Toddy's batting 4th, right?
Oh, yeah. Manny's hitting 3rd.
And then, of course, yesterday when Iglesias and Diaz both get singles to lead off an inning, I go,
here we go.
Here it is. They got 2 on, nobody out, and they got Tatis and the top of the lineup coming out. Here comes the 6-run inning. And Tatis immediately grounds into a double play. That's the kind of weekend it was.
Mike says Tatis can grab bags and has a good eye. It doesn't work for Schwarber and Ohtani. It absolutely works for those guys. Both of those guys are having monster seasons. Monster. Now, Shohei has a lot of solo home runs too because the bottom of that lineup until recently has been pretty bad. But
everybody's bottom of their lineup usually pretty bad.
Yeah,
that part of baseball has always stayed the same.
That's kind of always stayed the same.
There's never been a strategy technique used where you're like, let's put our best player in the 8 hole.
It's just weird. Like again, I guess there's a part of me that respects that about Shilton. He's like, no, this is the lineup I put out. This is what I trust. Would I like to change it? I think the bigger picture though is it's very obvious. We need a bat. It's so obvious. But again, as I said to our pal Mike yesterday, who do we want? Who's willing to throw in the towel right now in their season? You have maybe the White Sox, you have the Marlins. Who are we willing to part with? Do they see value in that person? It obviously takes two. I saw everyone this week go get Taylor Ward. The Angels aren't trading Taylor Ward right now. They just swept the Dodgers. They still think that they have a shot. And based on what I saw this weekend, they might. They played really inspired baseball. And Why are you gonna wave the white flag to Zach Neto and Shanuel and all those guys right now and say, no, we're gonna trade Taylor Ward?
The Angels right now, 20-25, but they're just 4.5 games out of a playoff spot.
Correct.
It's hard. I get it that the Angels probably aren't going anywhere, but you got a fan base too there.
Yeah.
What kind of message do you want to send to your fan base when you're 4.5 games out of a playoff spot that goes, we have no faith in our own team, though,
Correct.
so why should you have any? I mean, they want to sell some tickets for the summer. You can't trade someone who's producing it all for you at this point. It's just not going to happen.
I know. It's exactly right.
The Angels didn't trade Shohei Ohtani. We're expecting them to trade Taylor Ward.
It's a very valid point you make, Paulie. Very valid.
Apparently, the Padres were in on Shohei Ohtani a couple of years ago. That was a Ken Rosenthal report over the weekend.
One that I wish never came out, because the last thing I need to do is revisit any of that mess. It's gone. It's not happening.
We knew he was close. We knew he was all in on him.
Yeah, I don't like hearing it. But I think, again, you have to be semi-logical when it comes to just out of bat, guys. Well, yes, I'm in. Like, who do we have that they want, that they value, that they'll part with? That's the problem.
We all know baseball can be a very frustrating sport to follow, probably the most frustrating.
Oh, yeah.
Soccer gives it a run for its money, though. We can talk about that as well coming up. Hour number 2 of Ben Woods on the way on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
it down in the chat this morning. And look, there are no bad ideas in brainstorming, certainly. I mean, there's some bad ideas. You wouldn't say, let's bat Jason Hayward leadoff, right? That's a bad idea, I'd say. But for the most part, you're talking about you got 5 guys on the team, the big 5, in Manny, Xander, Merrill, Tatis, and Arise. What do you do with those guys? How do you get the most out of them? And they've done that so far. This series notwithstanding, they've done that. They're 9 games over 500. They've collected a lot of wins early, which, by the way, was the mantra of this entire fan base for many, many years, right? I don't want to hear you guys saying it's early, these games count. Well, they've done well. They've done well. They're 9 games up right now. And so that formula has worked. I get it. It's hard to flush 3 runs in 3 games. You just get bodied by the Mariners. I get it. I'm pissed about it too. I don't think you need to make any sweeping changes, Benjamin, but I do think you need to be actively looking for help in left field. They have the worst OPS, along with the Dodgers, OPS plus production in left field. It's bad. It's bad. The bottom of the lineup does feel a little dicey, but again, I don't know how much different that is on other teams. I mean, what's the Phillies bottom of the lineup look like? What's the Mets, the Yankees, the Dodgers even? Like, what do their bottoms look like?
The Mariners' bottom of the lineup wasn't scary with Mastroboni and Rivas and whatever they had throwing out there. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And it's like,
Settle down, Ben.
yeah, settle down over there. You just wanted to say Mastroboni on the radio on a Monday morning. I know who you are. I know.
Miles Mastroboni.
Say it again.
I'll give you a hand. That was clever.
That's very clever. So yeah, man, I just don't know. I don't know how you get the best. It's funny because you look at it, if you're a tinkerer, right? If you're an adult league manager like myself, and let's say we played 5 days a week, Xander Bogaerts goes out and gets 3 hits in the 5-hole. Guess who's moving up to the 2? Who's locked in? You're not going to do that at the big league level. I just don't think it's feasible or sustainable. These guys are professionals. They want to know where they're going to be and prepare as such.
We'll talk more about the Padres as we continue on. I also forgot to mention that we have some tickets to give away for next Tuesday's game against the Miami Marlins. So stay tuned.
Ooh, I'll be there.
For your chance to win, it is Military Hoodie night at Petco Park for the first 40,000 fans. Woods, if you're on our YouTube stream, Woods is modeling the YouTube stream hoodie right there. For the first 40,000 fans in attendance, Military Hoodie. You can get your tickets at padres.com/tickets or stay tuned for your chance to win a pair later in the program today. Yeah,
I just wiped my mouth with it. I'm very
not
that's yours now.
So that one's yours.
All right, I'll just keep it.
Just keep that one.
I didn't mean to. It was just habit.
I watched you.
Sorry, I was like, I got
that
water.
belongs to you now.
I got water in my stash, so I was like, let me just get that out.
We have a Sharpie. We'll just write Woods on there.
As frustrating as it was to watch Padres baseball over the weekend, might have been even more frustrating to watch San Diego FC play on Saturday. Now, this was a team that was red hot coming into their game against a bottom of the table Sporting Kansas City club that was, I think, 13th out of 15th coming in. You're good. They've been traveling a bunch. We talked to Darren about it on Friday. Like, this is a team that's ripe for the taking. Not a bad team, but they fired their coach already. This is one that you really want to get all 3 points when you're at home. This is the kind of game, in MLS, you want to dominate. And they did. San Diego FC dominated the match. Yeah. 65.4% possession. So basically 2 out of every 3 minutes of that game, San Diego FC had the ball. Shots on goal, 5 for San Diego FC, just 1 for Sporting KC. 10 shots overall to just 2 for Sporting KC. I mean, the stats will tell you this was an absolutely 8 corner kicks versus 2. Just one of the biggest routes you're ever going to see. This
should be 3-4-0.
This was a slaughter, except
wasn't.
They didn't score. It ended up in the 0-0, the 0-0 tie, and you only get 1 point instead of 3. So you're taking a huge hit. You're leaving 2 points on the table in a game you absolutely dominated at home that you absolutely should have won. And it's hard. I mean, they've been like the Padres, who have been a pretty good team with hitters in scoring position. They're still 6th in baseball.
Yep.
After going 0 for 21. SDFC has been a good finishing team. They've gotten those goals when they've had the opportunities all season long, and then all of a sudden one day it doesn't happen, and you're left scratching your head. Does Mikey Varas need to make a bunch of changes? Probably not. It's just simply the frustration of life cheering for a soccer team that occasionally they're going to have a game where they dominate and they just don't score. And that's what happened on Saturday night at Snapdragon Stadium.
Yeah, and I think, the saving grace in soccer, in Major League Soccer and all soccer really is that, okay, fine. We didn't lose, so we still picked up a point. But did we lose 2 points, right? And by not going out and handling business like we should have, did we end up costing ourselves 2 points? I think the answer is yes. But again, that 1 point that you get is like it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice. Like, okay, we're at home. We should have won that game. We didn't. We didn't drop anything. We still picked up a point. It's kind of like you can look at things, in with glass half full and empty. I saw a lot of people going, man, we had a chance to pick up ground on the Dodgers this weekend. They got swept by the Angels. And I'm like, okay, like we didn't pick up any, but we didn't lose any either.
Same spot we were on Friday.
Same spot we were on Friday, which, by the way, in the war of attrition that is a baseball season, okay. Yes, there are going to be missed opportunities along the way, certainly.
And the same is true for San Diego FC. They could have picked up 2 points on first place Vancouver, who also played a scoreless tie. Instead, they fell from second to third place behind Minnesota, and they still have to play those teams later on. They got some of their tougher games still coming up on the schedule. So, it was a missed opportunity for San Diego FC for sure.
I know we kind of joked about it's not aesthetically pleasing necessarily, at least to casuals like us, to have a 0-0 draw.
Right.
I'm almost positive this conversation's already been had in soccer communities, but is there any thought to changing the scoring system at all, where it's like, all right, if the game ends in regulation tied, you each get a point.
Right.
Then you play on, and the winner picks up a second point, so that there is a winner.
They do that. I mean, they made that change in hockey years ago, where it used to be you'd play 5 minutes of overtime. If it ended, it was just a tie. Now it has to end with a penalty kick shootout, but you only get one extra point as opposed to the full three when you win,
because you won in
penalty shots or whatever it is. So, I mean, you could do it that way, and you'd have at least satisfied fans going home. But the purest way of soccer is the ties are part of the game. Sometimes you want a tie. Sometimes a tie is a good result. Sometimes when you win, you actually lose.
Sometimes when you win or lose, you actually tie.
This is sometimes you tie, but
talk like that.
Feels like a loss for San Diego FC.
I get it.
Good win on the road for the Wave. They've been hot with their new coach and new, really entirely new roster almost this year. They got their fourth, I think, consecutive. They won 1-0 at Gotham FC, or 5 unbeaten with 4 wins, I believe it is, on Friday night. That was a win. And the other thing I was watching this weekend, Woods, of course, was the PGA Championship, second major of the year.
As was I, a little bit.
Scotty Scheffler dominates really in the back nine on Saturday and Sunday was the whole difference in the tournament. He went eagle, birdie, par, birdie, birdie to finish on Saturday.
Nasty.
And then went 3 under for the first 8 holes of the back nine on Sunday. John Rahm had actually come back and tied him at the turn. So
what a shock.
Scotty, who had a 3-shot lead, expanded it to 5 early. It's like, okay, this is going to be a runaway.
Yep.
Then all of a sudden he made a couple of bogeys. Rahm made a couple of birdies, and they're looking there at and Scotty's sitting on the 10th tee, and he's been tied by John Rahm at 9 under par. Ended up beating Rahm by, I think, 7 shots or something by the end, because he just turned it on again. He is the number 1 player in the world, and I think he does have there's a step above Rory McIlroy even for Scotty Scheffler at his best.
Yeah, I feel like I will really appreciate Scotty Scheffler's career when it's over. Does that make sense? I don't feel like I appreciate it enough now. He's a very milquetoast champion. He's elite. He's a surgeon. But yesterday was probably the most emotion you've ever seen from him when he spiked his hat after he gets the win. 3-time major winner now. How many wins does he have on the PGA Tour?
I think he's around approaching 20.
20.
Yeah,
I mean, he's still so young. He's one of those where you'll look back and go, man, I really missed watching one of the best to ever do it.
15 now.
15. Okay. Yeah. I don't know I like him. I like him fine. Right. But it's just We get so spoiled. We
Well,
got so spoiled when we were
Maggie and
younger.
Perloff were talking this morning.
Oh.
Is Scotty Scheffler the most boring superstar like we've ever seen in sports?
Potentially.
And there's definitely
David Robinson was pretty
Tim
boring.
Duncan
Mike
was,
Tim
there,
Duncan
was one of their.
Mike Trout never won anything.
They threw in Kawhi Leonard
He's a
into the mix.
Yeah, he's a superstar. He never won a thing.
So, he's definitely as bland as it gets, which makes last year's story when he got thrown in jail on the way to the PGA Championships.
He's a felon.
Very
That's
ironic.
exciting.
Yeah,
because he really is.
He turned his life around after that. Is the tweet I saw going around.
And people actually criticize him for that. Like, hey, to be better for the sport, we need a little more emotion, a little more engagement. But what I think makes him so good is that he doesn't let the bad holes get to him.
Yeah.
He made 10 bogeys all weekend. 6 times he bounced back with a birdie.
Crazy,
on the next hole.
man. Crazy.
60% bounce back birdies.
That's so elite.
It's so good.
It's
I mean,
so
think about
elite.
when you play your own game.
You bogey, another bogey, double bogey.
It's like it spins out of control. He goes the opposite way. He has one bad hole. He comes back with a good hole more than half the time after that. It's what makes him such an elite player is his really lack of emotional, he's just so level out there on the course the entire time.
Yeah, it was a good tournament, man. It was, and again, made it a little bit exciting on Sunday, but yeah, we're watching true greatness right now, and I don't know how many people care. I really don't.
Yeah,
and,
it's definitely not it's nothing like the Tiger Woods. Era where he is must watch. It's like, oh, Scotty won again.
There's nothing polarizing about him.
No,
not at all.
Nothing. Zero. Just goes out and just dices and slices up the entire course and leaves people in his wake, but with a big smile doing it and kind of an aw shucks. Even Phil Mickelson, it was a villain.
Phil had some controversy to him.
Oh, yeah.
Opinionated, was willing to, make people
Stir
mad.
it up. Yep.
Scotty just doesn't, there's no controversy around him.
He's like if you were a champion. Very much like you.
Like me.
If you were the best golfer in the world, it would be like, oh God, Higgins won again. Just set, 12 under par on Sunday. Just oh, thanks guys, appreciate it. See you at the next one.
Scotty needs a producer who takes all of his drops out of context.
That's right.
Make him sound more interesting.
That's exactly right.
And maybe save the game of golf.
That's a good one.
That's a really good one.
Elisa says, I don't think I could pick him out of a lineup to save my life. You're right. You would never know.
I don't think I could. Gun to your head. Pick which one's Scotty Scheffler.
It's but no, I mean, again, I'll appreciate it when it's over because he's so good. I mean, he's so locked in.
Yeah, and I think the competition's so much deeper now that even though he'll never approach Tiger type numbers, he could get into the 6 to 10 major winner category, which puts him among the greats of all time.
For sure,
if he can get there. I don't think he's done winning these by a long shot.
No.
So that was the other thing that I was kind of paying attention to this weekend. Oh, by the way, quick pat on the back. My Oklahoma City Thunder prediction from yesterday.
My God.
If anything, I was wrong because I wasn't strong enough. I said they'd win by 20, and they won by over 30.
30, like 35.
Over the Denver Nuggets in Game 7. So our conference finals are now set. Got the Thunder against the Timberwolves and the Pacers against the Knicks in the Eastern Conference. Thunder have the better players. I tend to lean toward the Thunder here. I think they're going to take care of business and roll in Game 7 on Sunday.
Game 7. Where's the game?
In Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
Roll.
I think 20 points. Yeah. I don't.
You're kidding.
There's been a lot of blowouts this postseason.
That's a big number.
And it was easily met by the Oklahoma City Thunder.
So I mean, you must have won a ton of money.
I did not win any money. I have no legal avenue to place team wagers. I play my daily fantasy, and that's good enough for me.
Okay.
Should have just played the whole Thunder
the whole roster.
Your daily fantasy.
That's true. I could have done that. That would have been smart.
Hopefully some of the tier ones listen to your advice.
Although they win by so much, then they start pulling out starters at the end, and you don't get the stat padding that you need as well. So you have to be careful with those. We're going to take a quick time out. When we come back, don't do this. An NL contender going to be missing one of their key relievers for the next half of a season. We'll tell you about that and more. Coming up after a check of traffic with Ben and Woods here on 97.3 The Fan.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. GEGE 000-466. For a full list of games and rules, play at 7 Mile Casino. Visit 7milecasino.com.
Now, I will indulge in a little card play from time to time, and I love going down to 7 Mile Casino. California style blackjack is Woods game. I like Texas Hold'em. They're spreading both of them right now at 7 Mile Casino, open 24/7, or Pai Gow Poker or Baccarat as well, whenever you want it. A great card room there for you and open 24/7.
Well, you're a much more patient man than I am. I like to go all in anytime I get decent cards. I'm a kind of a mark, but I can sit and play California style blackjack for a while. They got everything you're looking for at 7 Mile Casino. It's just 7 minutes from downtown. They got great food, friendly dealers, a smoke-free environment, and for me, it's important, it's a slot machine-free environment as well.
Yep, the patio is beautiful. You're looking out over San Diego Bay. Great spot for lunch. Weather's supposed to be really nice this week. That's an opportunity for you to go down there. Windows, light and airy. So many things we love about 7 Mile Casino. The biggest one, though, you don't have to drive way out into the East County and back. It is simply a short trip down the 5 freeway on the west side, Bay Boulevard. Check it out today. 7 Mile Casino, just 7 minutes from downtown.
Hey players, things are about to get real here in San Diego. Introducing the all-new Hamul Casino Resort. With a 200-room hotel tower, exciting new eats and drinks, plenty of new places to play, and a luxe spa and salon. Hello, rooftop pool and deck. It's where players can play their hearts out and enjoy all the perks that come with it. It gets real this summer at the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the players' place.
may have to give a don't do this to my colleagues to the right and left of me.
How can a personal preference be wrong?
I just don't know. I feel like you're underselling it. It's National Devil's Food Cake Day today. Both of Woodsy and Paul both go, don't really like chocolate cake. I go, you don't like chocolate cake.
Mm-mm. I like brownies. Is that weird? It's kind of like how I don't like avocado, but I like guacamole.
Now, will I pick other desserts over chocolate cake? Sure. But if you have a well-made chocolate cake with a really good icing, it's not too sweet. It's a really good dessert still. And no, you're just giving me the kind of the sour face, like
don't like it,
punishing to eat it.
I like brownies,
chocolate
which
cake.
is weird. I get it.
So that's just a really dense chocolate cake without frosting.
Do you like what's devil's food?
I think it's just chocolate. I don't know what is the difference between devil's food and chocolate cake. Devil's food.
I like vanilla. I like vanilla cake with chocolate icing.
Cake.
I like strawberry cake. I don't like red velvet. That's for
devil's food cake is known for a robust, deep chocolate flavor and fluffier texture. Traditional chocolate cake uses melted chocolate for a less intense but still rich. It's basically the same thing.
You don't like chocolate cake either?
I don't like a ton of chocolate stuff in general.
Yeah, just out on chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like moist yellow cake as well as Doomslayer does.
With chocolate frosting.
Sure, I'll eat chocolate frosting.
Yellow cake, chocolate frosting.
Yeah. White cake with chocolate frosting.
I'm starting to think about it. I'm not I don't prefer cake very often.
I really don't either. I'm not a big cake guy.
I don't find myself eating cake very often.
A piece of cake.
I think I like pie.
Oh, I love pie.
I think I'd choose pie over cake.
Same every time.
I probably would agree with that take, but that doesn't mean cake is bad. You can't
cake's
just compare things to other things and say, well, it's not as good as this, so it's bad.
Cake is bad, though. Bad cake is
worse than bad pie.
100%.
Yeah,
Since I have the palate of a 12-year-old, give me a confetti cake, and I'm happy.
Oh, yeah, I'll eat that. I'll eat a confetti cake. I like that as well. Let's start in the
first,
world.
Don't do this is brought to you by Trust and Will.
Don't.
Leave your entire estate, house, kids, and life savings up to chance if and when you die. Set up a Trust or Will online at trustandwill.com.
This
is a lot more affordable than you think. Visit trustandwill.com for more info. You're going fast.
That was ripping through it there. Well, speaking of cakes and pies, Phillies reliever Jose Alvarado was just suspended, Ben, for 80 games after testing positive for a performance-enhancing drug known as exogenous. Damn it. I literally
had it.
I just did the pronunciation. Hang on.
Aren't there just letters like HCG or
exogenous? I had it. Damn it. Anyway, he took a banned substance. Right. And again, the Phillies have come out and said, well, it was a weight loss drug that he took. And he said in spring training, he did an interview. He goes, I'm a fat boy. Don't save that, by the way.
I need Ben to say it.
Please don't say that. Save that. Yeah, he said, his quote was, I'm a fat boy. I'm an effing fat boy. So he, again.
Come on. Give me a challenge at
least. So he gets popped, man, and
how did you gain all the weight?
Well, chocolate cake and devil's food cake and pies and everything else. So he gets popped, banned substance. Understandably, I heard John Kruk talking about it. This is selfish. Look, the fact that this guy will have an 80-game suspension, cannot come back and play in the playoffs. I mean, Jose Alvarado is a huge, huge piece for them. A huge piece. It's bad. That's tough. It's really, really tough. Matt Strom said, I want to get it straight from the horse's mouth, but it sucks. He said, I'm still processing it. So it's definitely a bad look. I don't, again, I doubt very much this was like, oh, he took Ozempic and he's now producing a massive amount of testosterone. I don't think it works that way. Just, again, we've had it here. We've run into it here. Every team kind of runs into it. I think am I wrong in saying that, like, the only person I can ever recall say, I did it, I screwed up, I made a mistake, was Andy Pettitte.
Andy Pettitte.
He's like the only one that was like, I was hurt. I wanted to get back and help my team. I took it to recover. I'm sorry. I wish I never did it. What do we think about Andy Pettitte? Hell yeah, man. Class act. Everybody else is like, there was this thing. I got this guy gave me this milkshake and I drank it and I don't know what the hell happened. And just one time you'd be like, all right, You got me. It's like my kids. I'm like, just wear it. Wear it. What happened again? I'm not buying this, So he's out, man. 80 games.
Now,
yeah.
I'm sure there have been a couple of athletes who totally, without their knowledge,
How?
like something happened.
How?
Oh, I mean,
It's almost impossible, Benny. You don't just
It's
fall
not
into
all-
a
it's-
needle. You don't fall into a cream. Oh, I took a bath in this vat of cream and clear, the guy said. He said it'd be good for my joints. I mean, really, it's
ultimately the responsibility of the athlete. Even if someone tells you, I've got this, it's completely legal, there's no banned substances in it, so you take it. Turns out there was, because the other person didn't do their research. That's still on you.
Yeah.
I understand it, but it's still on you. You've got to double check, triple check, whatever it is you're taking.
I get it. But now, again. So, hey, listen, if we find a way into the playoffs and take on the Phillies, you don't have to worry about Jose Alvarado shutting you down.
All right, story number 2. Former college basketball player Jared Shaw is in hot water. Jared Shaw played at Utah State. You might remember him from the early 2010s, playing against San Diego State. Also played at Oklahoma State. Never made it in the NBA, so did what so many other players did, started competing internationally. And recently, while he was playing at his international home, I'll get to where it is in a minute because that's the important part, he was arrested for allegedly smuggling cannabis-infused candy into the country. So, essentially, weed gummies. All right, seems fine, whatever. It seems like not a huge deal, but you got to follow the
Ganja, a.k.a.
cannabis.
cannabis.
You got to follow the laws of whatever country you're playing in, so it can be bad. It's especially bad, though, because he is playing in the Indonesian Basketball League, and they take their drug enforcement very seriously because Jared Shaw...
Everybody must get
we can laugh, but Jared Shaw's not laughing. He's facing the death penalty
excuse me,
in Indonesia
for
weed gummies. Possibly life in prison. But they take it very seriously.
Is that his options? Death penalty or life in prison? That's it?
Unless somebody else steps in, I think that is the protocol over there.
That is how they do it.
I don't know if the United States can step in and help out.
My God.
I have no idea how that works. I mean, you saw what happened with Brittany Griner a couple of years ago with the hashish oil.
Yes.
I got a buddy that lives in Singapore.
Now there's politics in that. I think in Indonesia
they will kill you.
That's simply how they keep drugs out of their country. It's a zero tolerance policy.
I heard an interview with Seth Rogen, who, I don't know if you know this, he really enjoys marijuana cigarettes. Very much so. It's almost his entire identity. He makes ashtrays while he's high and sells them. That's his whole thing. He had to do a presser over in Singapore. And they said, well, what did you do? And he's like, I abstained. I fine-tooth combed every bag that I had that I was taking over there, poured it on, emptied everything.
Just buy absolutely new
Just
luggage.
new luggage.
I heard that same interview. He was like, I checked the pockets of my jackets in case there was a roach in there.
Yeah.
Because they will not believe you. They will think you're trying to smuggle that in.
It's a roach. What am I going to do with this? Who am I going to get high with this thing? No, they don't mess around. So I feel terrible for that guy.
Cannabis?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he's importing kilos of weed here to distribute.
Not running a drug empire in Indonesia.
Personal use. It's just tough. It's hard to wrap your head around.
Yeah, it is.
It really is. Cool move by our pal Jordan in North Carolina. Check this out.
DD Mega Doo-Doo.
So our buddy Jordan lives in North Carolina, was out there at the PGA Championship this weekend. And I liked this because, we're egomaniacs and we like to hear our name mentioned. And Jordan was out watching the tournament, and our beloved Xander Schauffele from San Diego State
barely made the cut.
Made the cut, but so he did make the cut. He was playing, and Jordan was determined to get a mention in for his beloved Ben and Woods.
Xander, Ben and Woods are rooting for you in San Diego.
He gave him the cursory.
Xander's reaction somewhere between, hey, that's rad, love those guys, and don't bother me, please. I'm not sure which way it went with that hand. It was one of the two. Like, oh, yeah, that's cool, or, oh, yeah, please just stop talking. I'm not sure.
I tend to lean that he was, oh, yeah, hell yeah.
That's
Maybe
cool.
it would have been
Cool.
better if he was like, oh, love those guys.
I don't
Tell
know.
them I
You
said
look at the
hi.
hand again if you're on our stream. That he kind of puts all fingers up, but doesn't really raise the hand.
Sander.
Ben and Woods are rooting for you in San
He
Diego.
waves his fingers.
He waves his
That's
fingers
good. That's
slightly.
a wave. That's good. I'm going to take that as really good. Jordan, thank you for that.
Caddy
That was-
Austin Kaiser doesn't really react at all.
No.
Just keeps his head down and walking toward the next tee.
Yeah. How did he do? How did he finish?
Yeah, he made the cut. He was near the bottom.
The bottom of the
didn't,
cut.
didn't defend his title successfully at the PGA.
It's a hard game.
It is
Very hard.
He's really never gotten going this year
Yeah.
after the injury early in the year, but he's not. He makes the cuts. He just hasn't won yet. So, and that is don't and do this for a Monday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
We'll come back, go back into the Friday and Saturday games, otherwise known as the Rowdy and Raleigh show at Petco Park, as the Padres get swept by the Mariners over the weekend. That is coming up next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Well, first, guys, wanted to tell you, if you're a homeowner right now and you've racked up some credit card bills, there is a way out, certainly, with my friends over at Loan Pronto. All you have to do is give them a call. You can go to their website, too, loanpronto.com. They can kind of walk you through the steps on that. But you can get cash out of your home's equity now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS, guys. The Rapid Equity Loan Program at Loan Pronto is incredible. One client just got $300,000 and approved in under 24 hours, paid off their debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a big turnaround. Instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Your home's equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy, low monthly payment. Call now. Get a free instant appraisal for your home. See how much you can get today. They are A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, have nearly 2,500 five-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. They will walk you through it. Call now to start the conversation. 619-207-4336 or loanpronto.com. 619-207-4336. Get debt relief now at loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. On approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Hey players, things are about to get real here in San Diego. Introducing the all-new Hamul Casino Resort. With a 200-room hotel tower, exciting new eats and drinks, plenty of new places to play, and a luxe spa and salon. Hello, rooftop pool and deck. It's where players can play their hearts out and enjoy all the perks that come with it. It gets real this summer at the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the players' place.
Song and radio, I'm pretty convinced. Fires me up every time. Cherry bomb. Crank it. So good.
Not going to argue.
Yeah, it's hard to beat that one.
We rarely agree on everything.
That's true.
All three of us like that song. All right, this hour on Ben and Woods brought to you by Staples. Your local Staples has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. Right now at Staples, save up to $250 off your print order. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends June 14th. Plus, save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples. I will say one guy who makes it look easy against the San Diego Padres, but not really against any other team, is Rowdy Tellez. Doesn't matter who he plays for, whether it's the Brewers or the Mariners, or man, the guy hits well against the San Diego Padres. He's really not that good.
He's not.
He's been released the last two teams that he was on because he's not that good, but guy turns into a superstar when going up against Padres pitching, and he did it both in games 1 and 2 of the series on Friday and Saturday nights. A 2-run home run on Friday, a solo home run on Saturday, helping jumpstart Mariners wins in both games of the series.
Rowdy Tellez has a .359 batting average with 14 hits, 5 home runs, 11 RBI, and 6 runs scored in 12 games against the Padres on the road in his career. So he comes to Petco Park, he plants his flag, he sets up shop, and he goes to work and absolutely dominates us every time we play that guy, Benny.
Now, Cal Raleigh has been dominating everybody.
Yeah, he's a really good player.
He is having a terrific season, and he continued that with his 14th and 15th home runs of the season on Friday and Saturday.
It's like a lost art. Catchers that can lead their team in home runs.
He's so good.
And he's not bad defensively either. Yeah, I mean,
they locked him up, didn't they?
Yeah.
That's an advantage that the Mariners have on almost every other team.
Pretty much.
Padres are more the norm. I get that the Padres aren't getting a lot of production out of their catching tandem, but that's not unusual in Major League Baseball right now. It's tough to find catchers that can both call a good game, handle a pitching staff, block a pitch, throw out a runner, and hit for any decent amount of OPS. They're the rarest creature in Major League Baseball right now.
Yeah, they really are. Used to be a few. There used to be more, and I don't know what the reasoning behind it is, Benny. I think part of it is pitching it's always been really important, right? But now, man, like handling you hear Schilt say it all the time. I really don't care what we get from our from the offensive standpoint from our catchers. We need guys that can handle our pitching staff, and to this point, I think they've handled our pitching staff quite well. I do, and any offense you get from them is a bonus, but to have a guy that has the ability to do it all, that's a rarity, man, and should be appreciated.
We want to talk about the pitching performances by the Padres on Friday and Saturday. We'll get to that after a quick check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Oil Change, your 15-minute drive-through oil change. Unfortunately, no incidents or accidents to mention. Tow truck has cleared a stalled vehicle westbound 8 to the southbound 125 connector ramp. San Diego, before you cruise out this Memorial Day, stop by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. No appointment needed, just 15 minutes, and you're road trip ready. Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Experts you can trust. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for coupons. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Now, turns out Stephen Kolek is not going to end the year with a 0.00 ERA for the San Diego Padres.
No, I kind of realized probably should have just shut my mouth about Stephen Kolek on Friday. Maybe let it play out.
I mean, he deserved the
flowers.
That we had been giving him after his first 2 starts. Giving up 3 home runs, certainly when the offense doesn't help you at all, is going to look a little bit worse. I mean, the numbers were not awful. He got through 5 innings, 8 hits, 5 earned runs,
That's
all of them
bad.
coming on the home runs.
Yeah.
But he only walked 1. He struck out 4. To me, nothing Stephen Kolek did tells me, you can't rely on that guy going forward. I still think he's going to continue being part of the Padres rotation. There will be some more ups and downs. We always knew there was going to be a rougher start. He wasn't going to throw Coors Field shutouts every time he took the mound the entire season. This was the first time he had faced a better offense, a deeper team in the Seattle Mariners, and they got him a couple of times. And he talked about after the game, all right, J.P. Crawford ambushed him on the first pitch. Gonna happen.
Tip your hat.
Said, I made a mistake to Rowdy Tellez. That was a pitch. I cannot leave there. It was supposed to be outer half. Got it on the inner half. That was a mistake by me. And he said, Cal Raleigh, I kind of put that pitch where I wanted to. And Cal Raleigh's he's really good and really locked in right now. He went the other way, barely got it over the fence. What are you going to do on those? Other than that, got around his other mistakes, left some runners on base, didn't have the worst performance that you've ever seen. Made a mistake, and it cost him. Yeah.
He's a 5th starter. Yeah. He had been really good to that point. You give him a chance to pull himself out of it. Again, that night, Manny, Merrill, Bogarts all took overs. It's hard to win with 1 run. You're certainly not going to expect Stephen Kolek to hold the Mariners, to 0 runs. It's untenable. You're not going to win a ton of ball games that way. So yeah, man, the Stars did not star this weekend. That's really what it boils down to.
It really was the tone setter, though. Padres actually had 7 hits in the first 5 innings of that game.
Could not break through.
And could not find a way to score any runs. 0 for 5 there with runners in scoring position in those first 5 innings. Turned out to be the theme for the entire series. They would never get a hit with runners in scoring position. It continued on Saturday with another 8. Now, Nick Pivetta, I thought, was good. Nick Pivetta, 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run.
Nasty,
it was, again, a Rowdy Tellez solo home run, but he bounced back really nicely. Apparently, it's just Coors Field where that guy does not like to pitch, but everywhere else, he's really been solid, other than I think the Wrigley Field had kind of a shaky outing. Everywhere else, he's been great. He's been terrific, a terrific addition for the team. 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. Gavin Sheets gave him that 1 run, gave it right back, and after that, came down to the bullpens in the game, and Padres, once again, an ambush. Cal Raleigh, first pitch off Adrian Morejon in the 7th inning, and that turned out to be the difference in the game. Mariners added a couple late, but ended up winning that one 4-1. But their bullpen was the star of that game. 4 1/3 innings, 2 hits, 5 strikeouts. After Emerson Hancock was fine. 4 2/3, 6 hits, an earned run. But it was the bullpen that was the star.
Yeah, it's tough. Comes in, just gets roughed up by the Yankees in his last start. Comes in, and you look at his stuff, and you go, God bless. All right, 97, top of the zone. Like Manny couldn't catch up to it. A lot of guys couldn't catch up to it. All right, but that's a guy with a 6 ERA. Knowing Brian Woo's on the next day, that's one where you gotta try to find a way to grind that one out, especially with the pitching performance that you got from Nick Pivetta, and they just didn't do anything. Again, Manny another 0 for day. Merrill scratched out a hit, struck out twice though. Crony with an 0 for. Bogarts actually had 3 hits that game. Toddy weighing in with 1, and Luis Rizzi. Just the offense is just stagnant right now. And again, a stagnant offense that doesn't slug a lot, running into the Mariners starting pitchers and bullpen is not a recipe for success. And does it give you any panic when you're like, hey, well, this is how we do against teams with really good pitching staff? The answer is yes, absolutely. It gives you a little bit of panic and a little bit of pause. I don't know how you fix it.
I'm not going to worry as much because of it really was the 0 for 21 with runners in scoring position. There's plenty of teams.
Which, again, 21 guys in scoring position is a good thing.
Right.
That's what you want.
There's plenty of good teams that will have weeks of the season where they get 3 hit and then they get 2 hit and they're just not getting hits. Padres had about 20 to 25 hits in that series that just couldn't drive in any runs with them. And to me, that's more of a timing thing than necessarily a sign of major concern for your offense. If you're getting shut out on 2 hits and then you're getting, 1 run on 3 hits the next night, then you've got giant holes throughout your lineup. Padres don't have giant holes throughout their lineup. They have some. They have a couple of holes at the bottom that they do need to address, and we'll continue to talk about that. They just had guys who normally come through who didn't come through for them this weekend. I don't think it's a major cause for alarm that the Padres. Plus, they have pitching that keeps them in all of these games. They did not happen to win any of them, but the starting pitching on both Saturday and Sunday was good enough to win a low-scoring game. Just didn't find a run or two that they needed, and the good news is the Padres continuing to get healthier. Yu Darvish is on the trip with the team to Toronto. Now, Mike Schilt did not name him as a starter for any of the games against the Blue Jays on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, but you would have to think that if he's on the trip and he's not expected to make another rehab start, that you will probably throw a bullpen and then likely start in Atlanta against the Braves on the latter half of this trip. When they go from Toronto to Atlanta on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We'll see. No official word on that, but you certainly don't take them on a trip with you and not schedule another rehab start with the intention of not pitching.
Right.
So,
right. And yeah, I mean, what will the corresponding move be? Remains to be seen. There's a lot of speculation. We have no idea, but I think I was a little surprised when I found out he wouldn't pitch against Toronto
Blue Jays.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised.
I don't know what his timing is in terms of his throw days and everything and how that's looking, but I don't think there's any. I think it's only cause for encouragement that he's with them on the trip, and I expect to see him soon. And then if you really want to look deeper, I believe it was Friday, Matt Waldron made a start, just his first in the Arizona Complex League, coming back from his spring training injury. What was that, oblique?
Oblique.
That he had? Yeah, 38 pitches, 27 strikes, 1 2/3 innings, 2 hits, an earned run, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. At some point this year, if he gets healthy, the Padres will probably need Matt Waldron to at least make a couple of starts. We forget how important he was last year for the Padres. In the middle of the season, he was the only guy you could rely on in the starting rotation for like a 2-month stretch. And we kind of, he struggled at the end, so we kind of forgot about him, but he's still down there and working his way back.
It's a good reminder. I mean, it's a good reminder when you think about last year. Now, I did see a lot of comparisons to the 2023 team based on how this series played out. Fair. Absolutely fair. That looked very 2023-esque, but
only if you ignore the rest of this season, though.
Exactly. Only if you ignore the rest of this season, right? The
probably not the healthiest thing.
It's absolutely not. But you do remember, man, this team was an up and down roller coaster until the All-Star break of last year. But and they've answered the bell, so to speak, again, based on what we and everybody asked them to do, and that's get off to a hot start. And to be sitting where we are, 9 games above 500, Ben, I don't think you can categorize that as anything but a hot start. I'm sorry. You can't. You're delusional if you think that that's not a hot start. That's absolutely what it is. I got a DM from a guy yesterday. He said, this guy says, I just spoke to Matt Waldron outside Petco. Padres have him here with the team today before heading out on a rehab assignment. This is yesterday, 9:34 a.m. Plans to rejoin the team in 3 weeks. Not sure this is news to use or not. So maybe Matt Waldron sighting in the next few weeks. Again, can he play left field and hit home runs? The answer is no. It'd be great if he could, but he doesn't. That's what my concern is right now is who's going to play left field.
As you said, they'll have a decision to make when Yu Darvish comes off the injured list as to who's going to go down. Right now, I would assume it's probably Sean Reynolds, who actually looked a little bit better this weekend when he went in.
Kind of mop up a little bit.
He may be on that back and forth, flights from El Paso to – there's always at least 1 or 2 relievers who end up on the return shuttles back and forth from El Paso. You need those guys who you use them hard for a week or so, and then they go back to El Paso for a while and wait for someone else to get hurt, and then they're back and use them hard for a couple of weeks. And the Padres use more of their back end guys than their main guys in their bullpen, just because they didn't have leads to protect this weekend. They did use Yuki. They used Wandy a lot. It wasn't horrible. It's what you'd expect. They're not going to be perfect every time out, but they mostly ate up some innings. Wandy ate up some innings. Reynolds ate up some innings, and preserved Jason Adam and Robert Suarez from having to add any extra, innings or pitches. And as Eno Saris told us once again last week, every pitch a guy throws over the course of the season usually makes them worse. So if you can spare even your relievers an outing or two by using those guys late in the game, then you at least accomplish something.
Yeah, Suarez hasn't pitched since Wednesday.
Yeah.
So it's Monday, right? Which is when your closer doesn't pitch for 5 days, either you're the hottest team
today either.
You're the hottest team in baseball and you're blowing teams out, or you're struggling to score runs and hold leads and get leads.
Yeah. Alec Jacob also could be headed back and on that same train between El Paso and San Diego. So we'll see what move happens, but probably not until next weekend when the Padres go to Atlanta. Missed opportunity. We can talk about what else happened in baseball coming up in the next couple of hours of Ben and Woods, but did mention that the Dodgers got swept at home by the Los Angeles Angels in their Freeway Series rivalry. That was
embarrassing.
That was completely unexpected. You think it's bad to get swept at home by the Mariners? It's much worse to get swept at home by the Los Angeles Angels for the first time since 2010.
It's crazy. They got real problems, but here they sit. Didn't lose. They're still in first place. Best record in baseball still, or no?
Now it's the Tigers, I believe, have the best record in baseball. We also had a manager fired. We can get to all of that and more. Second half of Ben and Woods coming up after a quick timeout here on 97.3 The Fan. Don't go away.
All right, we're halfway home on a turd Monday, I guess. Victoryless Monday. Not used to seeing this team get swept, just not show up. It happens. Long season, a lot more games to go. But, yeah, vibes aren't, through the roof. Worst part about that loss, I tweeted it last night. Now you have 48 hours. You got to sit there and wear it. That's the worst part, at least for the fans. Guys are probably, all right, that sucked. We need to regroup, refocus, get up to Canada, get loose.
That's the opposite of a happy flight. That's a long flight through customs after 3 straight losses on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's...
I promise you, though, the spirits were high in there. We've learned that over the years.
A lot easier for them to flush it than a lot of fans.
Yeah,
sometimes.
it's way easier. Way easier. Those guys are like, hey, man, we got so many games to go. We're going to be fine. I like what I did here. I might have figured something out. We'll figure it out. But, yeah, I'm sure they weren't kicking the chairs and throwing drinks around the plane all pissed off. We've heard that from people that actually fly with the team. No, once the game's over, the game's over. There's nothing you can do about it. For we fans, we sit here, we just want to see our Padres again, and we want to see them win. So you got to sit and rot for 48 hours and wait till the next game.
The look on your face yesterday afternoon in the Tier 1 dugouts.
Yeah.
In between innings, you and I were sitting there on the railing, and you said, what's the score of the Padres game? I'm like, 4-1 still. You're like, ugh. And then I said, the good news is there's no game tomorrow, so we'd have to just sit and wear it.
Yeah, I forgot.
And then Tuesday's show is who knows what that'll look like. And
yeah.
you just went, oh my
God. Boy. And, Tier 1's lost again. That's 5 in a row for us. And we don't play next weekend because of Memorial Day weekend. So
we get to sit with that for 2 weeks.
You get to sit and rot, and we haven't won a game since, January, it feels like. So, yeah, just a lot of L's over the weekend. I don't like taking that many L's.
Tier 1 basketball can clinch a playoff spot with our 5th straight win tomorrow night.
You guys.
So if you want to come out and just be a part of that,
I don't.
You're more than welcome to be there.
I got a Little League
got
game.
A jersey for you and everything.
My last Little League game of the season. I'll absolutely weep. Do the superlatives, Heart and Hustle Award, all those, and I cry every single time. I love these kids. They've played so hard. They've learned so much. And they are awesome. And so I'm going to be super bummed when it's over. I was talking to Bo about it last night. I go, you bummed your season's ending? He goes, yeah, it's too short. In my mind, I'm like, just wait for travel ball, buddy. He's been playing like 6 games a weekend, losing his mind. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl, the executive producer of the program, and Benjamin Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor.
You want me to give you the most surprising stat of this Padres season so far?
No, because I don't want to talk Padres at all right now. Not even a little.
You don't want to talk anything at all?
This is our reset.
All right.
So you sit on it for another time. Well, we still have Dennis Lynn coming up at 8:35. Maybe
that's I'll save it for Dennis.
Save it for D. Lynn.
Fair enough.
I think that's probably a good idea. Right?
Yeah.
If you're ready to
he
move
looks
on,
upset.
we can move on.
It's not moving on, but this is our reset time. We've only done this every day for 7 years.
Yeah,
this is our reset.
We start for 5 minutes and then we kind of move on. I mean, if you have more to reset, then please be my guest.
Well, I did, but I feel like I threw a monkey wrench into your scene. So
the floor is yours.
No, now it's yours. Let's hear the stat.
No,
I want to hear the stat. Do the show, bitch. Do the show, bitch.
I don't know how this is. I don't know exactly how this has happened. Padres are 27-18, so 18 losses.
Right.
14 of those are against American League teams.
It's crazy. We did this like 10 days ago, and it was still worse. Crazy.
So they've only lost 4 times all year
to a National League team.
National League teams. Did you know that every American League team, other than the Boston Red Sox, has lost at least 4 times to National League teams, and they're in the American League?
All right, that part. Say it again.
So every American League team,
we've
4
lost
against National League
4 against National League teams.
Every single American League team, other than the Boston Red Sox, who are 4-2 in interleague play, have lost at least 4 games against National League opponents. Like the Tampa Bay Rays have lost 10 times to National League opponents. The Guardians have lost 10 times. The Astros have lost 10 times. The A's have lost 16 games against National League opponents.
Wow.
Padres have lost 4 games. And they're not a bad team. Padres have lost 4 games against National League teams all year long.
Well, I guess that bodes well for us down the road.
3 against the Cubs, 1 against the Rockies.
Jeez.
And they have won every other game they have played against National League opponents this year.
So basically what you're saying is we don't make the World Series this year because you have no shot
against the American League. But the American League participant, yeah. Well,
All right, so 3-3 road trip. No, yeah, right. 3-3 road trip
yeah,
coming up.
yeah, lose 3 against Toronto and then sweep the Atlanta Braves
Yeah,
when
piece
they
of cake.
finally get back to some National League play.
It's weird. What a weird schedule it's been so far. But yeah, this was not actually the best weekend for the NL's top team. The Mets, top teams. The Mets dropped 2 or 3 of the Yankees. Dodgers, of course, got swept. Padres got swept. Is not looking good. The Twins finally lost
their
the
13-game winning streak.
Yeah.
That was a good weekend for the Giants.
Yeah,
They
they
gained
swept.
ground on everybody. They swept the A's and have moved into a tie with the Padres for second place. Still just a game behind the Dodgers now.
Crazy.
In the National League West.
It's
So.
just so
Looking,
tight.
who do you think's the hottest team in the National League?
Hottest team in the
Mets?
National League? No, they just lost 2 or 3.
6-4 in their last 10.
Hottest team in the NL. The Cardinals?
Yeah.
Cardinals.
Winner.
Yeah.
8-2 in their last 10.
Crazy.
They did lose yesterday, but they're sitting at 26-21.
Yeah, as our pal East County Chris says, basically you're saying baseball makes no sense. Never has.
It's a little bit.
Never will.
That's kind of where I'm going here.
I will
Baseball
s-
still
So
doesn't
the Padres
make much
will
sense.
just run through the playoffs.
Yeah.
To the World,
And then
till the
get
World
swept.
Series,
Just
and then
get-
get swept.
Get bodied. I watched. I hate watch a lot of Dodger games, and they always tend to end, after the Padres game. And look, it's strange. Like, I think if we go back and we listen to how we previewed the season. Did anybody not think that team would be 10 games up right now? I mean, like maybe not 10, but 6, 7, right? Is the fact that you're still right there and the Giants are still right there and the D-backs are still pretty close. Are we good or are they not as good? And I think it's a combination of both. And I think if you listen, I listened yesterday, Benny. So I was driving home from our game. Padres game had just ended. So I flipped on my MLB app. I put on the audio and was listening to the Dodgers broadcast driving home. Wanted to see how the last couple of innings went. And they had come back, and then they immediately surrendered the lead. And Dave Roberts goes 2-1. Luis Garcia, Ben, for the 3rd consecutive day. And I'm sitting there with vivid flashbacks of our Luis Garcia experience here. And I went, oh, man, third game in a row, giving up runs, et cetera, et cetera. All their bullpen is giving up runs right now. Everybody. Banda, Vesias gives up a homer, an outing right now. Like, they're in the chamber, and they're getting no length or girth from any of their starters really right now. So they're in a really rough spot. And I'm listening to the broadcast, man, and you could hear how down they are on that team. They're not as good as we thought they would be right now, even though they're still very good. And again, they have the ability to go out and score 9 runs, but lose. They'll lose by scoring 9 runs. So it makes their offense is pretty prolific. Their pitching is in tatters right now. It really is in tatters. Our pitching is a better situation right now, but I was listening going, man, I think we all thought that this team would be running away with it, and they're not.
I would think that the biggest concern for the Dodgers right now is truly that their unlimited pitching depth, which really felt like there's no way that they could run out of pitching with the number of arms that they will have. And they will continue to bring guys back, but the middle of the rotation guys, Tony Gonsolin has an ERA over 4. Dustin May has a 4.5 ERA. Roki Sasaki has a 4.72 ERA. He's now hurt. Landon Knack has almost a 6 ERA. And Clayton Kershaw came back this weekend but got roughed up. Yep. And I don't know that he's got anything left in the tank. Maybe he'll figure it out. I wouldn't give up on him after one start, but they really are not finding. They thought we have so many guys we can throw out there. All we need is 1 or 2 guys to hit. Bobby Miller, 18 ERA. None of these guys have really done any better than just a replacement level pitcher.
Right.
And so the depth that they thought they had behind their, granted, injury-prone starters like Tyler Glasnow and Blake Snell, they thought, yes, that we know they're injury-prone, but it doesn't matter because we've got all these guys that can fill in, and then we'll wait until they come back. They just haven't gotten those fill-in starts that they were expecting.
Yeah, and the guy they were talking about, they said the guy that probably would be one of our best starters right now is Ben Kasparius, but they need him to eat up innings in middle relief right now, and he's been pretty good for them. So they're in dire straits. I mean, when you have to use Luis Garcia 3 games in a row in close games, that means maybe they're not as good, or maybe they're not as smart as they thought they were now. Now, somebody did make the point. I feel like they do this every year. Then they figure it out in the second half. Absolutely. You're not counting out the Los Angeles Dodgers. You're just not. But I think Andrew Friedman, he of the philosophy, I'm not buying in July. I'm buying now, and I'm buying in bulk now, so I don't have to buy in July. That strategy's out the window.
Now,
He'll also be buying in July.
If Glasnow and Snell and Ohtani come back and start pitching,
That's pretty dirty.
And they've got that lineup, they go back to being somewhat unbeatable.
Correct.
But until then, they're just a run-of-the-mill good team in baseball.
Yeah.
They are no better than the other good teams in baseball. And that shows in the record that they have right now that it's good, but it's not appreciably better than any other top team, first place team in baseball.
Yeah, I mean, Mookie's struggling badly. They've got some serious holes. They got holes in their bullpen like crazy. They got holes in their starting rotation. No starter gives them more than 4 innings. And it's a recipe for disaster. Can they hold it all together? Maybe. They certainly have the money, the resources, and the ability to do it. But again, and it's a bummer. Like I was talking about glass half full earlier. Like, yeah, had you been able to pick up a couple games, take 2 out of 3 on the Mariners, look at you. You're in first place today. Granted, you're only a game out. And after playing a really crap series, they just happened to play one at the same time.
Meanwhile, you had your third manager fired in baseball already this season. Just a month and a half in. That's a lot of skippers to get the heave-ho in a month and a half. But the Orioles pulled the plug on Brandon Hyde, the manager of the year from 2 years ago. But it didn't look like that thing was getting any better.
It's not his fault.
15-30 after the weekend for Baltimore. They are 2-8 in their last 10, 11 and a half games back already.
Season's close to over.
I mean, it's almost white flag time.
I hate to throw anyone out after just a quarter of the season, especially with the talent that they have on their roster.
But they don't have pitching, and it's not like they're getting pitching back. Like
only the Rockies,
not a ton.
Only the Rockies, the White Sox, and the Pirates are further away from the top of their division than the Orioles.
And 2 of those teams have also fired their managers, the Pirates and the Rockies.
Who's the other one?
White Sox.
White Sox. Yeah, they just hired.
They just hired. The expectations are as low as you can get right now in Chicago. Yeah, they're not going to fire Venable this season. So, I mean, that is, to me, the biggest surprise in all of baseball is how bad the Baltimore Orioles have been this year.
They have, who's their Grayson Rodriguez. I don't know when he's scheduled to come back. Who else did they have sitting out there in wait to come back? I'm not sure off the top of my head. Kyle Gibson, did they DFA him over the weekend?
Tyler O'Neill's on the IL.
He's not pitcher.
Not pitcher. Kittredge.
Andrew Kittredge. He's a reliever.
Patrick Riley.
I believe. Yeah, so it's not like there's reserves.
Carlos Tavera. Brandon Young. Grayson Rodriguez. Kyle Bradish, Tyler Wells.
Yeah, Bradish is good. Yeah, it's been Gibson was DFA'd over the weekend after another dumpster fire performance. But yeah, so I don't know, man. If I'm AJ Preller, I'm on the horn. I'm on the horn with that team.
Wonder if they thought about giving AJ the interim job now that he's already in the organization. They didn't. They
gave Adam Jones.
They gave it to their third base coach, but
why not give Adam Jones the position of hitting coach, just like they did for Brett Boone? Will we see this now? Now that Boone's gone over to Texas, like, you know what? Let's get some of those old players back in here again. And enough of the iPads, like Boone said. No more. I want you watching the game. Look at your iPad after your AB, but I don't want you sitting on your iPad. It's just like we tell our kids. Go outside and play. I don't want you on the iPad all day. Booney's telling his kids the same thing, and he's getting results so
not
far.
bad. Yeah, they split 4 against the Astros over the weekend. Got shut out 1-0 in one of the games, but for the most part, the results have been pretty good since Brett Boone arrived with the Texas Rangers.
No doubt.
So yeah, that's a little update on rivalry weekend in Major League Baseball. Any other interesting results? You had the
Tito swept the Guardians, his former team.
That's true. Let's see. The Braves took 2 of 3 from the Red Sox, although they did get the Devers walk-off on Saturday. Kind of dramatic win for Boston in that one. No one cares about the Florida, what do they call it, the Citrus Series?
If you say so.
Although the Cal Quantrill, former Padre, did throw an immaculate
inning for Cal
yesterday for the Miami Marlins.
Is that going to be the highlight of his career?
I mean, probably.
That's a big one.
I mean, he's had some decent years and
That's
starts.
That's a big one.
But that's fairly notable. And Cubs swept the White Sox. D-backs did lose one of their games to Colorado. So just like the Padres, you feel like you almost give something up when you don't sweep the Rockies, but they lost one of those crazy games, 14-12 or something on Saturday, but came back with a 1-0 win yesterday behind Merrill Kelly, 7 innings.
In Colorado.
Yeah. Second,
he pulled the Kolek.
Yeah, second shutout. Now he didn't get all the way for 9 like Kolek did, but 7 shutout innings and 11 strikeouts.
Pretty solid
in Colorado.
Great.
All right.
They're another team to be reckoned with. I mean, it's about to get really interesting in June.
All right, if you'd like to join us for Take on Woods, our musical trivia challenge is coming up next. Your chance to qualify for the trip to Las Vegas, the $100 gift card, and the Bruno Mars tickets. Just call now, 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. We'll play Take on Woods, and then we have our Linsider, Dennis Lynn from The Athletic, going to join us coming up at the bottom of the hour with Bennett Woods here on 97.3 The Fan. Woods and I, though, want to tell you about trustandwill.com. Any day, doesn't matter if you have been putting it off. If you want to take care of your family and make sure that your wishes are known, this is the easiest way to do it, Woods. It just takes about 15, 20 minutes, and you can actually be set up with real legal documents in case, you ever need them.
I trust that you will head on over to trustandwill.com and knock this important thing out for you and your family, their peace of mind. If you do go to trustandwill.com, use the code FAN when you check out, FAN. Going to get you 20% off and free shipping of your estate documents. Get it, throw it in the drawer, forget about it.
You can put up together a trust and avoid maybe probate court, which is lengthy and expensive and a real hassle. It could keep your assets from your family for months or even years and cost them a bunch in fees. And it's all avoidable by going to trustandwill.com. Again, use the code FAN, get 20% off and free shipping of your estate documents. Again, that's trustandwill.com. Go to trustandwill.com.
Hey players, things are about to get real here in San Diego. Introducing the all-new Hamul Casino Resort. With a 200-room hotel tower, exciting new eats and drinks, plenty of new places to play, and a luxe spa and salon. Hello, rooftop pool and deck. It's where players can play their hearts out and enjoy all the perks that come with it. It gets real this summer at the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the Players' Place.
Woods and I both feverishly reading the latest letters to AJ. Substack during the break, talking about the team's power outage this season and potential causes and whether or not it's a reason for concern.
It is, based on the Substack from our beloved
It
letters
is.
to AJ.
Now, whether it's going to turn around based on Manny Machado starting to hit some home runs that he typically does, whether Jackson Merrill and Jake Cronenworth missing a bunch of time during the season is another large part of the explanation why their home runs. What are they down? Six or seven home runs from last year? Seven home runs
off their pace.
From
last year,
which would be fine if you were on that same pace.
You'd be good.
You would be good
above league average.
So give Manny 3 or 4 more, and he's been a little unlucky. He said could have hit balls that would have been home runs in some parks, didn't go over the fence.
He said he's made outs on batted balls that had a 74%, 80%, and 90%, 91% chance of going for a home run. Is that normal? Perhaps. But he's getting a little bit unlucky right now. The interesting part, though, is when he talks about lineup construction and not really lineup construction. It's who you have in your lineup and what you have available. Their teams are seeking out Jason Hayward. They're willing to put a Jake Cronenworth on base, right? They're willing to pitch around Croney. They're hunting Brandon Lockridge. They're hunting Jason Hayward. They want
Martin
Maldonado. And they want to get to those dead spots. And they're fine. If we have 2 guys on and Brandon Lockridge is up, we'll take our chances. If we have 2 guys on ahead of Jason Hayward, we'll take our chances. And that's good baseball. It's smart baseball. It's good strategy. It's good managing. I'm going to go after their weakest hitters, and I don't care if there's a guy on. If he gets me, he gets me. That strategy is going to win against the Padres more times than not.
We'll talk about more of the left field position, what Mike Schill is doing, what still could be done. Coming up, Dennis Ling going to join us momentarily. First, though, it is time to play our game today of Take On Woods. Take On Woods is brought to you by Bay Alarm, security and fire alarms for every business. We got you. Let's see. We got Joe today. Joe, you there?
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, Joe.
Joe's
All right,
good.
You're our contestant today, Joe. Woods has left the studio. You'll go first. Woods will go second. If you can beat or tie him in our 5 questions, we'll put you into our grand prize drawing this month. It is a trip to see Bruno Mars in Las Vegas, 2 tickets to his show at Dolby Live at Park MGM on September 3rd, a 2-night stay at Park MGM, and a $100 gift card. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. You get to pick our category today, Joe. We've got a groovy category. The word groove in the title of all 5 songs. Luck O' the Irish. Got an O apostrophe in all 5 answers. And when is now the first letter of every, or first word of every song is when, and it's an all 2-second song category. So a groovy category, Luck O' the Irish, or when is now. What would you like to play, Joe?
The groovy category?
A groovy category. All right, you've got 60 seconds to answer as many of these 5 as possible. If you don't know, once they pass, we'll come back to it. And if there's time left on the clock. First question's our 2-second song. Paulie will play the music. You need to give me that title that has the word groove in it and the artist to score the point. And again, all 5 answers contain the word groove. Joe, are you ready to play?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. 60 seconds on the clock in a groovy category. Your time begins when Paul plays our music. Good luck, Joe. Let's take on Woods.
We're going to dance. We're going to dance. We're going
Pass.
Opening with a robotic-sounding riff, which single became the final top 10 hit for Earth, Wind, and Fire in 1981?
Let's Groove.
Correct. Which Madonna song with a dancing theme includes a bridge in which she repeats the phrase, "Now I Know You're Mine"?
Into the Groove.
Correct. The 2 biggest hits for Peaches and Herb were 1979's Reunited, and which track that came out 1 year prior?
Shake Your Groove Thing.
Correct. 80s synth pop duo The System had their biggest hit with which #1 single from 1987?
Don't Disturb This Groove.
Correct. Go back to our 2-second song.
We're going to dance. We're going to dance.
Groove in the Heart
By
Delight.
That is correct. Joe has done it again and qualified for our grand prize. Well done, Joe. Sit on the line. Paulie will get your information. We'll get you into the drawing. Joe is solid. Let's bring Woods back in. Got all 5 grooves in the heart. Delight. Let's groove into the groove. Shake your groove thing. Don't disturb this groove. Got to get him all in before he hits that door. It's a very soundproof door.
He was going over the answers like as you were opening the door.
I did, and then I tried to squeeze in the rest of the answers just to make sure. All right.
I didn't hear anything.
60 seconds on the clock. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Woods. Let's take on Joe.
We're going to dance. We're going to dance.
Pass.
Opening with a robotic-sounding riff, which single became the final top 10 hit for Earth, Wind, and Fire in 1981?
Robotic-sounding riff. What is the category? Pass.
Which Madonna song with a dancing theme includes a bridge in which she repeats the phrase, "Now I Know You're Mine"?
Now I know you. Get into the groove.
Correct. The 2 biggest hits for Peaches and Herb were 1979's Reunited, and which track that came out 1 year prior?
And It Feels So Good.
Incorrect. 80s synth pop
this
duo The
sucks.
System had their biggest hit with which #1 single from 1987?
What psychotic tier 1 sent this in?
This is mine.
This
All
is
mine.
not yours.
This psycho.
Yep. This is all mine.
I have no.
I mean, it doesn't
earthly
matter.
idea.
You're cooked.
You
already.
already
Am I cooked?
lost,
All right,
actually.
fine.
So.
Just bang it.
Yeah, the word, you got it in the Madonna song, is groove.
Okay.
So the song is Groove is in the Heart by
Oh,
Delight.
that's the intro to that?
That is.
Oh.
Let's Groove by Earth, Wind, and Fire. Shake Your Groove Thing by Peaches and Herb. Don't Disturb This Groove by The System. 5-1. We have a
Jeez.
rout by Joe.
My God.
Joe's solid.
Joe is
very
legendary.
solid.
Jeez.
Joe is in.
I feel like
and,
Manny Machado right now, dude.
Congratulations. You know what? Everyone has a little slump that
True.
they go through over
It's
the
true.
course
You
of
can learn
a
a
long
lot.
season.
Flush it.
Should we
and,
DFA Woods?
No,
No,
don't
I
fire
don't
me
think
to the
so.
sun. I'll be back tomorrow.
No, Dennis Lynn will be back with us in our next segment to talk some Padres baseball. After this on 97.3 The Fan.
No, it's interesting. Before I walked out, I saw somebody pop up in the chat. What's that clinic that Woods always talks about his wrist? And I couldn't answer because I was walking out of the room. My friend, it's QC Kinetics, and the timing couldn't be better. Wanted to tell you how great they were to me, how much they have changed my life completely. If you have pain in your joints, Please call QC Kinetics today. They are the nation's leader in non-surgical relief for joint pain. Over 50,000 satisfied patients across the country. People with knee and back pain, people with shoulder and hip pain, gone. What they're doing here in San Diego is nothing short of remarkable. It's regenerative cell therapy to restore the tissue in your achy joints. I am a walking advertisement for QC Kinetics. It has changed my life. Again, lifting heavier weights than I've ever lifted at 49 years old, playing baseball, playing golf, doing all the things I love to do. And the best part, no pain. No pain whatsoever. It came from a time when I had massive pain in both wrists, and caused me to go in. And I was a little skeptical, but man, they got the job done. It's been incredible. So call them today. You'll get a free consultation when you do. Learn about all the cutting edge treatments that can help you live your best life, get you back to doing all the things that you love. 619-614-PAIN, 619-614-PAIN. It's QC Kinetics at 619-614-PAIN.
Hey players, things are about to get real here in San Diego. Introducing the all-new Hamul Casino Resort. With a 200-room hotel tower, exciting new eats and drinks, plenty of new places to play, and a luxe spa and salon. Hello, rooftop pool and deck. It's where players can play their hearts out and enjoy all the perks that come with it. It gets real this summer at the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the player's place.
You know, you get to show what you're made of after struggling a bit.
To me?
Yeah, the Padres, I was actually probably referring to. But hey, tomorrow you get a chance to bounce back and take on Woods.
It's the beauty of take on Woods and the Padres. There's always tomorrow.
Just like
right?
Scotty Scheffler.
Until there's not.
Bounced back from 10 of his bogeys with birdies at the PGA Championship. How do the Padres bounce back? The next 3 days in Toronto as they start a series tomorrow. We'll talk all about it with our Linsider, Dennis Lin from The Athletic, going to join us right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic sponsored by Valvoline Instant Oil Change, your 15-minute drive-through oil change. We're getting reports of a hit-and-run crash westbound for the 805. No details as to whether that's blocking any lanes. It looks like the rest of the road's starting to wind down pretty nicely. San Diego, before you cruise out this Memorial Day, stop by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. No appointment needed, just 15 minutes, and your road trip ready. Valvoline Instant Oil Change, experts you can trust. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for coupons. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Happy Monday, Padres fans. It's time to discuss the weekend that was for the Padres with our Ben and Woods Linsider, Dennis Lin from The Athletic. Brought to you by the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the player's place. Things are about to get real with the all-new Hamul Casino Resort. With gorgeous rooms and exciting new eats and drinks, it gets real this summer at Hamul Casino Resort, the player's place.
We may need an alternate opening for Dennis that doesn't start with Happy Monday, Padres fans.
Monday.
Not Monday, Padres fans, because not too happy as we welcome Dennis Lin from The Athletic. Tough weekend for the Padres offense in particular, Dennis, and I want to start there because I think the biggest argument right now among the fan base is this indicative of bigger problems for the Padres offense, or is this simply one of those stretches that every team goes through over the course of a season, regardless of whether they have a good offense or not?
Yeah, I think you can read it as a little more symptomatic of something maybe a little more concerning than just the bad series, because if you go back to, I think, April 15th, they've been averaging barely 4 runs per game. And of course, they had quite a few injuries in between, but at the same time, they had the sweep by the Tampa Bay Rays at Petco Park. You had, of course, a 21-0 beatdown of the Rockies. But if you take that game out, that average goes way down below 4 runs per game. So, obviously last season the Padres offense kind of fueled them into October, and this season it's been more up and down. And part of that has to do with the composition of some of the bench guys. They're not quite getting what they got last season from guys like Donovan Solano and David Peralta, of course, in the starting lineup from Kyle Higashioka, catcher. So it's going to be a uphill battle, I think, to try to get some of that back, because right now they're maybe a little bit handcuffed in what they can do, but still early in the season, they're still 9 games above 500. So all things being equal, I think they would take where they are right now versus where they were exactly a year ago.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I'm trying to keep that perspective too. Talking to Dennis Lynn here on Ben and Woods this morning, and it was. You remember last year, Dennis? It was win 1, lose 1, win 2, lose 2. I mean, it was like dead 500 team at the break at 500, and we still have a while till the break gets here. I mean, we absolutely, I'm trying to keep the perspective of, hey man, 9 games above 500. They answered the bell. I've said it a couple times this morning. We all challenged them to get off to a hot start this year. We have. Well, everybody said, no, none of this second half, praying for a miracle stuff. We challenged them to get off to a hot start. It's hard for me to sit here and say, 9 games above 500 isn't a hot start. It absolutely is. I also don't subscribe that, well, they've gotten lucky. When they're hot, when that offense is firing, they're really tough to beat. They don't strike out a ton. They put the ball in play. But man, when they are off, it is one of the uglier products out there.
And they're still not really striking a whole lot. I know there were a couple, obviously, strikeouts with bases loaded this past weekend, but I think they still have the fewest strikeouts in the majors. But yeah, I think part of the ugliness is, like, if you're not going to hit and you're not hitting for power either. And the Mariners weren't hitting a ton either over the weekend, but like the times they did get hold of the ball, they were hitting it over the fence. So if you're not going to provide consistent pop, and you're also not making your normal level of contact, it just it kind of has a sap on the energy kind of effect. And you saw, it was the 19th, 20th, and 21st sell crowds of the year at Petco over the weekend, and the energy in the building was down, and guys were obviously pressing a little bit at the plate, trying to get something going. But I do think it's notable that it does feel quite a bit different than the first couple home stands of the year, where they were really putting a lot of pressure on opposing teams, running the bases, stealing bases, and kind of moving the ball just up and down the lineup. But yeah, if you're not making your normal level of contact again, it's just not going to be the same. And that's kind of the chicken or egg thing, right? So, but they just got to have to get back to, I think, just making it simple and trying to make contact. And Rogers Center is not Petco Park. It'll probably be a little friendlier there as far as the ball flight, but you got to, I think, stick to what got you here, which is, making contact and moving the line.
Well, you talked about it. You mentioned, and it's something we haven't brought up, I don't think, in a while, but that style of baseball, the pressure, keep the pressure on them, force them to make bad throws. We're going to run, we're going to steal. It seems like it's ground to a halt, and maybe that's recency bias on my part a little bit. I know that you had some of those guys were out and injured, but it does feel like there's been a little bit of a shift in that. We're not sitting around waiting for the 3-run homer. We're sitting around waiting for another single to drive in a run after 2 guys have hit singles.
I think a lot of it goes to also, to your point. When your big guys aren't doing much, it's going to look uglier. Jackson Merrill and Manny Machado obviously had a rough series. Tatis had that home run yesterday, but obviously it was kind of an empty series for him mostly as well. It kind of goes back to, if their big guys aren't carrying them, that's what can happen, because the depth at the bottom of the lineup is not what it was last season. But I think that the pressure that kind of defined them early in the season and throughout last summer, that's something you definitely like to see more of. But I think it's just a matter of just the DNA of this lineup versus what it was last year. It's quite a bit different, even if that the main guys are still the main guys. It's not having a Donovan Solano at the bottom of the order to kind of keep the line moving. That's really made a marked difference. So I think Padres will have to do something. I just don't know what it'll be right now.
Talking to Dennis Lynn from The Athletic, and it's almost jarring, Dennis, to see Jackson Merrill struggle. He's in a 1-for-19 slump over his past 5 games. That barely qualifies as a slump, but for him, it is. It's one of the worst stretches of his career. What kind of reporting in terms of what Jackson is doing right now. We heard some talk about a stomach virus. We saw a wrap around his hand.
He showed a blister too, big gnarly blister.
Is there anything that you kind of know about what's going on with Jackson, or are pitchers maybe attacking him a different way? I mean, he swings a lot always. That hasn't really changed much. Just give us your thoughts on Jackson Merrill.
Well, I think it's a combination of everything. Maybe the blister, maybe not feeling 100%. He came back and he was on fire, right? Like, he looked like the best hitter in the world after coming off the IL. And I think we forget sometimes that he's still only 22 years old, didn't play a whole lot in the minors, hasn't played a whole lot in the majors. And yeah, I think he's arguably the best center fielder in baseball already. But we also have to remember, he's still developing, still learning, still adjusting to the league, adjusting to him after the great rookie season that he had. But yeah, I think the chase rate's definitely something that it was top of his mind coming into this season. He's pretty analytical and studies a lot of video and looks at a lot of metrics. So that's definitely something he was aware of coming into this season. And to your point, Ben, the chase rate's just as high as ever, and he's swinging a lot at a ton of pitches. So I think pitchers are kind of taking advantage of that over-eagerness. And, he hasn't had a whole lot of slumps in his young career. I think he's 1 for his last 19, which, doesn't seem like a lot for most guys. But when you're young and you're 22 and you want to make something happen, maybe you can get a little over-eager at some times. So I wouldn't be too worried about him. I think he's the kind of guy who knows what his strengths are and how to get back to that. But at the same time, maybe we should just temper our expectations of him hitting 400 for the rest of the season.
Yes, I would say that's a fair temperance of expectations. I don't think Jackson Merrill's going to hit 400. Dennis Lynn joins us this morning, and we do this, man, as fans. Like, hey, this guy's not getting the job done. Let's call up Luis Campusano, who's continuing to mash. What is your sense of what the organization feels about Luis Campusano? We've heard things, right? Everybody hears things. I've heard it's kind of an internal struggle. One side is still all in and maybe another side is not. And, I don't know which is which, but what is your sense on where they are with Luis Campusano? Because, again, you need a guy that can slug. He's been slugging, but he's also been given a dozen chances, Dennis, and it's never really materialized.
I think if you have truth serum to the organization, they would have traded him for something decent or something good, even most recently or as far back as a few years ago. Obviously, that hasn't happened. His trade value is not high around the league. There's only so much demand for a defensively limited catcher who seems like he could be, kind of settling into becoming kind of one of those quad A type hitters who just matches in the PCO and he comes up and can't really sustain it. And again, the defense really kind of limits his usefulness. But right now I'd say it's a lot of the same as the last couple of years, that they'd love to move him if they could. If there's not, again, a lot of interest around the league. But yeah, if he's going to keep hitting like this and bottom of your line is going to keep struggling, you do have to consider bringing him back up. I know he had a really quick cup of coffee a couple weeks ago, but they don't have a lot of catching depth in the organization right now, besides, Diaz and Maldonado, and both those two guys aren't hitting. Obviously, that's not what they're here for. They're here for, pitching staff management and guiding this pitching staff through a season, which they've done a pretty good job of so far, I think. But, Luis, if he's going to come back up, he's probably not going to be catching unless there's an injury. And if, he's not going to be doing that for his team, I think they do have to maybe just consider just moving him for what they can.
Last thing for me, Dennis, we saw Gavin Sheets make his second start of the season in left field yesterday. Clearly, I mean, I'm going to throw out the play looked horrible when he went backwards, got turned around, lost his glove over the fence. Certainly was not we've
all been there.
the prettiest look for an outfielder. But at the same time, is it possible that is the best option for the Padres going forward? As rough as that play looked, he did make some routine catches out there, and you're not asking necessarily for the best defense out of your left fielder. Could we be seeing more of that ahead?
Not to dwell on it, but yeah, I can't say I've ever seen a left fielder or any kind of outfielder lose his glove.
You've never played Sunday ball, Dennis. You see that stuff all the time. I saw it 2 weeks ago with our first baseman. It happens.
Yeah, but this is Holy Sheets we're talking about.
That's
so,
true.
I guess
Dairy
we expect
Bonds.
him, hold him to a little higher standard.
That's fair enough.
But
That's
no,
fair.
he's obviously he's done more than his part, especially on the offensive end for a team that really needed a boost. And I know I was kind of panning their lack of depth at bottom lineup, but he's been a godsend, obviously. No pun intended with Holy Sheets, but yeah, he's not an outfielder really. He's more of a DH and occasional first baseman. But yeah, I think at this point they're willing to try it because they sat Jason Hayward 3 out of 4 games against a right-handed starting pitcher, and they had Brandon Lockridge take a couple of starts, but he's obviously not going to provide a lot of offense and pop. So if Sheets can do it for just a little bit while they figure out something else, I think that's something they're open to. But yeah, if you can kind of limit his exposure to left field or just the outfield and defense in general, I think you're serving all parties the best there if you can do that. Just kind of limit him to being a DH. But yeah, right now they just don't have a lot of options, and then they're obviously searching for one. And I don't think you're going to turn to a guy like who was just released by the Dodgers, Chris Taylor.
No.
Because his underlying numbers are even worse than Jason Hayward's, and he's almost 35 himself. So again, I don't know exactly what the Padres can do in May. It's not even Memorial Day yet in left field, but yeah, they have to do something, which is why you're probably going to see maybe a little bit more of Gavin Sheets out there.
Whew. Dennis, really appreciate it. We'll
Thank you,
talk to you
buddy.
again next Monday when the Padres return home to face the Miami Marlins. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care.
Dennis Lynn from The Athletic, our Lynn Sider. What's the procedure when you lose your glove over the fence as a major leaguer? Now, does the fan have to give it back, or is there a negotiation?
No, I mean,
Finders keepers.
Does
But it's
Gavin
like,
have
hey,
to ask nicely, like, hey, can I
get
really
you after the game?
I really need that. I can get you another one after the game, but we still have an inning to play, and I don't have a glove anymore.
Sorry, bro. This is mine now.
It is. It's a tough scene for the just move guys around and make them change positions crowd, right? I mean, it's not that easy. That's a really tough position to play, especially for a guy that hasn't played a ton of it. Throwing a guy out in the outfield, big lumbering designated hitter, first base, like go play left.
Jackson Merrill screwed all future baseball
He
players.
really
at
did.
least in
Look
this
how easy
organization.
it is.
Like,
Look how
worked okay for Jackson last year.
Toddy too. I mean, you're
Yeah.
talking about two freaks, right? Rafael Devers isn't that. He doesn't look like those guys. You can't just move guys like that around.
It was interesting to see 3 different starters in 3 games.
Sure was.
We can talk about that more coming up. Final hour of Ben and Woods next on 97.3 The Fan. Padres in Toronto for their day off. I've heard it's a nice city. My brother-in-law lived there for a couple of years. I never got to go visit him while he was there, but I heard a lot of good things about the city of Toronto, Canada.
I've never been.
The province of Ontario.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things.
Yeah.
And I just realized, out of all the teams in Major League Baseball that I think I know the least about, it might be the Toronto Blue Jays. I was just going to be like, oh, the Blue Jays. I mean, I know the stars. I know the guys that they have. I don't have any idea how they're doing
Vlad
so
Guerrero,
far.
Bo Bichette.
Yeah. They've got Jose Barrios. I don't know. How are they doing so far?
I think they're slightly under 500, maybe. Like
recipe for disaster.
They've always been in the American League.
Yeah, they are
22-24.
Yeah, they're slightly under 500 in the division.
place.
Just 5 games behind the Yankees, just sitting there like they always are.
Yeah, just hanging around,
underperforming slightly.
Should we buy? Should we sell? What should we do? They're the team that went out and got Anthony Santander, who's been absolutely atrocious. I fully expect him to get on track.
They wanted
this
better
week.
players, and then they had to settle for lesser free agents.
They've really shot for the stars.
couldn't land
there.
the big ones.
They wanted Shohei. Many people thought they had Shohei. They've gone after the big guns for sure. They just haven't been able to land anybody really. So, yeah, interesting to see how this series will play out. It's, again, we're way above 500. They're 2 games below, and again, another American League team. This scares the crap out of because we can't
struggling against American League teams.
Can't beat those AL East teams.
The weird stat from earlier this morning: the Padres have 14 of their 18 losses against American League teams, which eventually they'll stop playing them because you play way fewer interleague games than you do National League. It's just crazy that the Padres have played a majority of their games so far this season against American League opponents. 24 games against American League opponents, 21 games against National League opponents.
My guess is that it's a city that they all like traveling to. We'll talk to Jesse Agler about it tomorrow, about what he thinks about Toronto. Yes, the customs thing is probably, bit of a pain, but other than that, Benny, I hear it's a beautiful, clean city. Everyone's really cool. It seems, really modern. And
probably a nice time of the year to be there here in May. So, I would think it's kind of a fun one to have an extra day off.
Oh, yeah.
Get rested, get right, and start fresh tomorrow when they open a 3-game series against the Blue Jays. We'll talk more about the matchup tomorrow, but Dylan Cease is scheduled to throw the opener to that 3-game series. Mike Schilt did name his starting pitchers for the entire series. He doesn't always do that, but was kind enough to name Dylan Cease, Randy Vasquez, and let's see who is starting on Thursday. Is going to be Kolek. Yeah, Kolek's still in there. So you're just going to keep running right now. And then maybe we'll see you, Darvish, against the Atlanta Braves over the weekend.
Who are hot, by the way.
Hotter than they were, for sure. After losing their first 7, they've bounced back to climb right around 500 at least. So and they activated Spencer Strider, by the way, off the injured list.
We'll miss him though, I think.
If they pitch him early in the week, he might be able to pitch on the weekend, or if they wait a day or two.
You thought Emerson Hancock was tough. Wait till you see. Let me introduce you to Spencer Strider. Oh, great. We've been lucky, man. We've missed some of the big guns from a lot of teams. Miss Skeens, who had a great outing over the weekend. We missed. Who else did we miss? No, I mean, we missed all the Mariners. They were
injured.
Yep.
So the Padres have missed a bunch of aces so far this year. Doesn't necessarily seem to help them that much, though.
Well, I mean, 9 games over. Yeah, right.
Yeah. All right. Left field. We saw 3 different left fielders in 3 games. Mike Schilt, who on Friday when he joined us, remained fairly staunch in his, defense of Jason Hayward and everything he brings to the table, the leadership, the defense, the plays that he has made, and the fact that he plays for nothing really but winning teams. What is it? He said made the playoffs in 10 of the 16 seasons that he's been in Major League Baseball. So,
Skubal, we missed Skubal. Yeah.
Generally, big league teams with Jason Hayward on the roster have good years. But we did see now, as Dennis Lynn mentioned, it's 3 out of the last 4 games. Jason Hayward has not started against right-handers in left field. They gave Brandon Lockridge a couple of chances. They gave Gavin Sheets a chance. No one's necessarily, taking the bull by the horns and wrested the job away from Jason Hayward either, which continues to make me feel like the future left fielder for this Padres team is just not in the organization right now.
I've said this for years. I Need Money just brings it up in the chat. We've said it. We've said it on this program for maybe 6 years that Jake Cronenworth should be an outfielder. That's something. If you're going to put Jose Iglesias out there, put Iglesias at second and put Croney out in left field. There's no question he could do it. None. He's one of those guys that look at and go, I don't think he'd have even the slightest bit of problem playing left field. I don't know that he'd want to. I'd probably not would be my guess. But I think he would be able to do it. Yeah, and like I Need Money says, him with no left field experience can't be worse than Sheets in left. I couldn't agree more. Jake is extremely athletic, extremely. Makes incredible plays at second base, plays second base really well. But if you need to make a move out there, why wouldn't you consider
Are you
that?
better off with Jose Iglesias in your lineup every day? Now,
that's the thing.
Iglesias has not gotten off to a great start here with the Padres. Now, if you get
He didn't have an AB for a week, though.
If you get last year's version of Jose Iglesias from the Mets, who's hitting over 320, yeah, you better find a way to get him into the lineup. And one way to do that would be to potentially move Jake Cronenworth to left field. Now, my gut wants to be the devil's advocate here. Why don't you do that? The only thing that I can come up with is, why haven't we ever seen it?
Never.
We've never even seen it in spring training.
It's not even been considered.
It really has not been even thought of generally as an option that's been floated out there.
I really thought that was going to be his spot.
Both you and I sort of feel like, I mean, if you're going to try Sheets out there, you really wouldn't try Cronenworth.
Run through the list of guys that have gone out and played left field over the last 6 years. And they're like, well, why them and not Croney? I always thought, the super sub, the Chris Taylors of the world.
I mean, he's got some speed out there.
I
gotta ask him next time we see him. When was the last time he took a fly ball in left field? Like, have they ever asked you?
I feel like I've asked him that question before, and he said it really hadn't been broached.
He's always been so willing to do whatever
they need.
The organization has asked. They've moved him around a bunch. He hasn't complained at all.
He's played short, second, first. Played almost everywhere in the infield.
Yeah.
I do wonder if they've. I
think
asked
he's got a
him
good enough arm. I mean, left field doesn't need the best outfield arm. It's the shortest throws, and he's got a good enough arm to play short occasionally. He should have a good enough arm to be out in left field.
You've definitely asked him, would he like to?
No.
Is that something he would ever do? I don't know if they've, on a backfield in Arizona, when was the last time? Have they ever asked him, hey, why don't you just see how it feels?
It's so funny because it has always made sense in my mind's eye. It just has always made sense. Like Croney to left. He's almost a perfect left fielder.
I mean, if you wanted to do it right, you tell him at the beginning of the off season,
get some work
in all off season, spring training, you get him ready for it. The worst way to do it is, our left fielder has been struggling for a month and a half.
Go play left.
It's not how you want to handle things, but desperate times do call for desperate measures. And while this feels like a desperate measure, it also does make a lot of sense, Woods.
Angela says, I just nodded. Ben is the devil's advocate and the devil's food advocate. If you missed that earlier.
I had to defend Devil's Food Cake against these two chocolate cake haters in here on National Devil's Food Cake Day.
The devil's food advocate.
Also likes the devil's lettuce.
He loves the devil's lettuce.
Loose cannabis
so much. Yeah, I Need Money. We work for Profar. 100%. 100%.
Croney just feels like he's the ultimate utility guy.
Just throw him out there.
See what happens.
I think he'd be great.
Tell him how easy it is, Wash.
You got three.
It's incredibly hard.
3 converted, essentially shortstops out in your outfield. I thought that was the dream. I thought that's why you signed all these shortstops, because they can play anywhere. That was what I was told. When you have 6
Jackson Merrill's ruined this because we all feel like, hey, Jackson can do it.
Yeah.
Anyone else can
and
do
Toddy,
this.
and how about Javi Baez right now? Javi Baez was like one of the worst players in baseball. He moves out to center field, and he's just crushing right now, having the time of his life out there in center. I don't know, something to consider, certainly, and not an idea that's been lost on this show for the last, at least 5 years.
But ultimately, you can tell just from his comments with us, Mike Schilt is probably the organization's most staunch Jason Hayward defender. And now we saw Mike Schilt put a bunch of lineups in without Jason Hayward. So even Mike Schilt, who recognizes his value more than anyone, is having trouble justifying a spot in the lineup for Jason Hayward on a daily basis.
Exactly.
That's got to tell you something
Yeah, it
about
does.
where the organization is headed in left field.
Yeah, maybe Jake Cronenworth is the solution. It's made too much sense for me for them to never do it over the last few
But it's
years.
not that they haven't even done it. It's that they haven't
Talked
even
about
really
it.
talked about it.
Not to us.
There's never been any like floated ideas like we may do this at some point. They floated Jake Cronenworth pitching more than they have floated Jake Cronenworth in the outfield.
I mean, they will give any 40-year-old a $1 million chance on a minor league contract to try to play left field.
Yep.
Anything other than Cronenworth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, I know he likes playing second base and you know, he had a couple of rough throws lately, but I'm confident when they hit the ball his way, he's going to make the play. But yeah, man, if you've got a guy that can play second like Jose Iglesias can, just to maybe get different looks, whatever, makes your team that much more valuable. It's made way too much sense on this show for many years. So I don't expect them to make that change in the quarter season down.
Now, it made even more sense when you had Ha-Seong Kim
Oh my God,
on your roster and you were
100%.
overloaded
And Xander
in the
Bogaerts,
infield.
yeah.
It actually makes less sense now. You're relying on Jose Iglesias to carry a lot of the heavy lifting at the bottom of the lineup to make this work. I do think right now he is your best option.
I don't know why he hasn't gotten it. He finally got in the other day, but like
had a couple hits yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know why he hasn't. I don't know. We're not in there. Does somebody fall out of favor with the manager? Does somebody they're not feeling well? My knee's banged, that we don't know about. Not really, don't need an IL, can pinch hit if you need me, can play an inning if you need me. We have no idea really the real story with most of these guys. It's all speculation. But yeah, I think I like Jose Iglesias hitting in the 9 more than I like Maldonado, Lockridge, Wade. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's a better option for the San Diego Padres.
Diaz 8, Iglesias 9.
Yeah.
Ahead of then if you're going to leave Tatis in the leadoff spot. I like that idea as well, but it would have required Jake moving to the outfield if that was going to happen on a regular basis.
Brandon went and looked it up. He said even the minors, he only played once in left field when he was in the Rays system, logged all of 6 innings. That was back in 2015. Yeah. But I mean, again, it has always made sense to me. He always has looked like a friggin' left fielder to me.
While we're at it, just give anybody that's not locked into a position an outfielder's glove. We'll just do a gauntlet of do tryouts out in left field.
Yeah.
Luis Camposano.
Try not to lose that glove into the outfield.
Over the wall.
Oh my God.
No, it's, listen, we're grasping at straws here because that's what you do when you get swept at home by the Mariners.
I was thinking though earlier, thinking
Campy's played more corner outfield for the Padres than Jake Cronenworth.
Joe Musgrove has played more left field than Jake Cronenworth.
That's a good point too.
Well, Scala says maybe no arm. He's got as good an arm as anybody that's been out there, if
He
not
was
better.
a pitcher. He was a pitcher.
He threw like 96
in college.
Yeah. He was closer.
He's got an arm.
He's got an arm on him.
I was thinking earlier in the show, though, about all of our preseason concerns for this team.
Yes.
And I feel like a lot of them, like about half of them have been answered, and half of them, as expected, we're still wondering.
Yeah.
Like, we had questions about what the back of the rotation was going to look like. I've been pretty impressed
Me too.
overall with the rotation. Depth, obviously, was going to be a concern. You look at left field and catcher, we knew those were going to be 2 black holes on this team with guys on the roster. So depth, I guess, by definition, but not any depth that you're comfortable in.
Right.
And here we are, nearly 2 months into the season now. And I don't know that we have any answers on left field or catcher.
Catcher's been not quite the black hole I thought it was going to be. It's been more of a gray hole. It's not all the way black. Left field's been a black hole.
It's like a dark gray hole.
It's
charcoal.
But other teams also have similar colored holes behind the plate.
All right, enough talking about other teams' holes. Thank you on a Monday, Benjamin.
Not other teams, just our team's holes.
They're the only holes I'm concerned about are here.
Local holes.
Yeah, local holes.
We only talk about local holes on this show.
You like holes out there?
And donut holes.
That's a funny word. Hole.
If you put a W in front of it, it becomes way
Hole,
less.
yes, it's true.
Way less funny.
That's true. Whole milk.
But if you think about it without the W, it's funny.
Whole milk.
Whole milk.
Please go to break.
We still have
Oh,
some.
God.
We have some Padres tickets we're going to give away on our next segment for the game against the Marlins coming up next Tuesday when they return home from their current road trip to Toronto and Atlanta. So stay tuned for that. Paulie's got some Roundel Report headlines, including a major contract extension for an NFL quarterback, at least in the works, being finalized. Haven't gotten to that as well. So we can get to all of that coming up. And there was that rumor. I know you don't like to talk about it. The Padres targeting Shohei Ohtani for trade back in 2022.
Why are we revisiting this?
I don't know. Because
Let me tell you about the time I almost French kissed Renee Sadlow. Let me tell you about that, guys.
Well, are we? Is that
We
did
like
they,
just getting kicked
did
squarely.
they dodge
Yeah.
it? Did they dodge a bullet or did they miss an opportunity?
Ooh.
If they had traded Jackson Merrill for Shohei Ohtani,
Us?
yeah, would we be happy or less happy today?
I mean, I'd take Shohei at the top of my lineup.
Well,
I don't
yeah,
know
but
about
would
you guys.
would you have re-signed him though? Would you have been able to, or would it have just been a rental, just like
Probably would have been
Juan
like a
Soto was?
Soto-esque.
And you would have lost
I'm happy with
a
Jackson.
decade of Jackson Merrill. I think the
This is a-
Padres dodged a bullet potentially by not trading Jackson Merrill.
It's a futile exercise.
Shohei
It makes me
Ohtani.
want to stab myself every time we do this. What could have been, what might have been. It isn't. It's not. I don't know why Ken wrote. I'm not yelling at you. I'm yelling at Ken
I'm
Rosenthal.
glad that it wasn't, honestly.
Honestly, the only guy that screwed up is Artie Moreno. He's the only one that messed up. We're happy. The Dodgers are happy. Everybody's happy but Artie.
Yeah.
He's the only one in this that screwed up. And I'm sure Angel fans are like, yes, please keep kicking us while we're,
I don't know. When that story came out on, was it Friday? I think it was very much acknowledge it. Oh, and then move on because it was nothing new. It was nothing we didn't already
There's
know.
nothing we didn't know other than maybe Jackson Merrill wasn't included or he could have gotten Jackson Merrill.
I assume Jackson Merrill was involved in every trade the Padres
Same.
have made in the last 5 years, or as long as he's been in the system.
AJ Preller went strongly after Shohei Ohtani when he came over from Japan.
Everybody knew that.
There was nothing that changed about Shohei Ohtani that would have stopped him from going after him in a trade.
Only probably made it worse
Yeah.
for AJ.
Just wanted him even more
Correct.
than he did before.
Would you
after.
do a segment, Ben's favorite holes? That's a decent golf segment.
Yeah.
Oh, that is a good segment. I
Ben's-
didn't realize it was a golf segment.
That's what I was talking about. I don't know where your mind went, but mine was,
I was thinking it was
Ben's
a donut segment. but-
or Ben's favorite holes.
All right, we've got more still to come. First, though, I want to tell you about sdfatloss.com. We're
Speaking
still
of donuts,
yes, exactly. Oh, I might have had a few too many over the years, and when I looked in the mirror a couple of years ago, I realized something needs to be done. I'm not a big fan of diets. I do enjoy eating. But with sdfatloss.com, I was able to keep eating real foods. I had tried the other programs that make you buy bunch of bars and you eat like 4 of them during the day, and I hated it. I really did. And then once I ended the program, I had lost weight, but I started going back to real food, and my habits were bad. It's still with sdfatloss.com. I ate real foods. It helped me change my habits. I now eat better going forward, and I have maintained my weight loss, 40 pounds in 60 days. That's 10 to 20% of my body weight in 60 days. That's what you can expect as well, up to a pound of fat per day with no exercise and no drugs or injections. Simply go to sdfatloss.com, schedule your free consultation, talk to a counselor. They'll tell you how the program will work for you, how much weight you can lose in the 60 days. And right now, get $200 off the spring special, still happening in May. You'll have the weight off still by the end of July. You're going to be feeling great. There's still going to be 2-3 months of warm summer weather in San Diego. So do it today. Don't wait any longer. Go to sdfatloss.com. Results may vary.
Hey players, things are about to get real here in San Diego. Introducing the all-new Hamul Casino Resort. With a 200-room hotel tower, exciting new eats and drinks, plenty of new places to play, and a luxe spa and salon. Hello, rooftop pool and deck. It's where players can play their hearts out and enjoy all the perks that come with it. It gets real this summer at the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the players' place.
Big news for you guys out there. Just got approved this morning. Got the email from our boss Adam Klug that's off the air with Ben and Woods. The Adam Klug suggested Ben and Woods extra podcast, video podcast. We're going to do it on YouTube. YouTube show is going to be. We got the name approved by legal and whatnot, so we're going to start in June.
We haven't talked about this.
We did mention it once, but yeah, we mentioned it once. We did it when Major Garrett was in. We talked about the corporate overlords coming and asking us to do more work.
Right, because he was also going to be doing more work for
Yes.
his corporate overlords.
And I said, that's funny you mentioned, because our corporate overlord, Adam Klug, came to us yesterday. This was at the time yesterday, and pitched this idea. And I think I surprised him by saying, yeah, sounds good. I didn't fight him at all. And he said, it's your show. You can talk about anything you want. I think we might have found our first story. Potentially. Did you see the story that came out over the weekend about Joe Exotic? Remember him from Tiger King on Netflix? It happened during the pandemic.
I remember him.
Everyone pretended to get way into it.
I like the rest of the America after the pandemic, I stopped thinking about him entirely.
Correct. Well, his the story dropped over the weekend. His husband has officially been taken to ICE detention for deportation, and that's a sad story in and of its own right. But what caught my fancy, Ben, was the picture that he posted next to it. I don't know how to describe this. Would be better served for Off the Air with Ben and Woods. How would you describe it, Ben?
I'm hesitant even.
Yeah, I don't even know if I'd show it. He left him let's say that
you're an elementary school art project.
Let's say your wife writes you a love letter, and she puts lipstick on the cheek, kisses the back of it, and it's her lip imprints. Well, these weren't his lips that he imprinted to leave for Joe Exotic. Can you use your imagination? We were just talking holes almost exclusively in the last segment.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. That's what he left. He left him.
I don't even know.
Booty, rocking
I think
everywhere.
we've had it,
I don't even
Paulie.
want to think how will you accomplish that?
I thought about it. I
idea.
thought about it the entire break of how the legit. I'm always fascinated by logistics. How do the logistics of that work? Is it an ink pad?
I think it's like a thumbprint. You gotta
But not a
put
thumb.
A thumb has easy access to a piece of paper.
Well, I thought for our show we could do something else and hold it up. Guess whose blank this is? And you just slap it against the paper. I mean, Adam,
I don't think that's what Adam had in mind.
Is it? He said we can do whatever we want.
He did say that.
He encouraged non-sports,
Non-sports, whatever you
lean
want.
into whatever you guys want. Said preferably not politics, and honestly, preferably not sports. Just do
whatever you want
for however long, once a month.
Yeah.
So we'll make our own prints before the show and then show them,
But
and
not
say,
of that, of the other. And then hold it up. Right. And say, all right, guess who's who based on this imprint. Now, Ben was concerned in the break. He said, that would be tough to do because then, if you put it on the paper, it would look like Jackson Pollock painted it. And I said, no. What you do is you cover it in ink, not loose paint. It's not, you're not dipping it into loose paint and then throwing it on the paper so it looks like Jackson Pollock. You're like think about, you've never been arrested. They take your thumb and they roll it in the ink and then you have to roll it on the paper.
You used to set your phone, we have to do that where it would scan.
It's like Touch ID.
Yeah, like Touch
ID. I mean, everyone's been, I mean, I've had a notary that's thumbprinted me before to get a, marriage license or something.
That's fair.
It's
That's fair.
Certainly happened.
So what do you think about that idea? And then we hold it up and people guess.
Don't love that idea.
But it'd be messy.
I just think it would be impossible. I still don't think it would be impossible.
I think we could get it done. I brought ink pads for everyone. Everyone gets their own fresh ink pad. We do not have to share said ink pad. So just an idea, Adam. These are the kind of things we're kicking around.
Cleanup sounds kind of
Cleanup is just kind of a
too.
nightmare. Yeah. So
It's
these
like
are
saying don't dip your ink in the company.
Don't dip your pen.
Don't dip your pen in the company ink pad.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's literally what we'd be
That's
doing.
literally what we'd be doing. But again, he wanted us to explore the space. This is us exploring the space.
This segment of Bennett Woods is brought to you by Eliminate Termite. I'm sure they're extremely proud. The Orange Oil experts. Very proud of bringing you this segment of Bennett Woods.
Stereo City just canceled. This is Stereo effing City, man.
Have termites, Eliminate Termite inspects, treats, and repairs termite damage, all with a full structural warranty. Their orange oil treatment is safe for people, pets, and the planet. No tint, no move out. Protect your home naturally. Schedule a free inspection at eliminatetermite.com.
No tint. Thanks a lot, Padres. Appreciate it. This is on you guys,
Padres
man.
would also
Sorry.
like to provide you with 2 tickets to next Tuesday's game against the Miami Marlins. We also have to do that right now as we are getting late in the show. So be the 5th caller at 833-288-0973. 5th caller, 833-288-0973. Win 2 games for the contest against the Marlins on May 27th. Hoodies are back. First 40,000 fans in attendance will receive a free Padres military hoodie. For the first time ever, the hoodie will feature a print similar to the Salute to Service Sunday jerseys. Get tickets at padres.com/tickets or win them now at 833-288-0973. All right, Paulie's got our Rondell report. The 49ers with a big weekend in the NFL. That is coming up next year on 97.3 The Fan.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. GEGE 000-466. For a full list of games and rules, played at 7 Mile Casino. Visit 7milecasino.com.
Yeah, that was a tough transition.
Yes, it
Steve,
was.
to
You're
try to-
usually pretty good.
Try to get through that. Now we transition to talking about 7 Mile Casino. It's our place to play cards in San Diego. It should be yours as well. First factor, convenience. It is so easy to get to. It is a short drive down the 5 freeway, just 7 minutes from Petco Park. You can be sitting down and playing some of your favorite card games.
Yep, love California style blackjack the most. That's my game of choice. But they got Pai Gow, Baccarat, Texas Hold'em in a smoke-free environment as well. It's just a place that when you go and you feel good when you walk in. You know you're going to get some good food. You're going to get treated well. And it's little things. It's like the parking. You don't have to park in a big garage and walk and valet. Like, you just walk inside and play, eat your lunch, get out of there. Do whatever you want to do, man. A great place to watch a game. Great place to hang out.
And they love high-limit players as well. If you like playing cards, you're willing to wager a little bit more, they will spread a bigger game for you with the great dealers, the great comfortable seats. They know how to take care of their big-time players. They want you to be feeling at home at 7 Mile Casino. So it's kind of a very home-like atmosphere in terms of it's not dark, it's not dingy, it's light. It's you feel like you're okay when you go there, even during the day. One of the things I love about 7 Mile Casino, check it out today at 7 Mile, just 7 minutes from downtown.
Hey players, things are about to get real here in San Diego. Introducing the all-new Hamul Casino Resort. With a 200-room hotel tower, exciting new eats and drinks, plenty of new places to play, and a luxe spa and salon. Hello, rooftop pool and deck. It's where players can play their hearts out and enjoy all the perks that come with it. It gets real this summer at the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the players' place.
Padres heading to Toronto and Atlanta. Just saw a tweet that Adam sent us. Looks like Ronald Acuna Jr. Speculation was he might return early this week, but he's still on minor league rehab assignment. Could, according to Lindsey Crosby, come back on Friday against the San Diego Padres. Make his season debut.
Welcome back.
Might give him a whole week in the minors and come back next week as well. I don't care. You know what? If they're going to face the Braves, might as well face the
best.
Face the Braves at some point.
Gonna have to get those guys out at some point.
I would think so. They already won the season series by sweeping them all four at Petco Park to start the year. But if they face them, they face them. If they don't, they don't. Padres are going to have to learn how to beat the teams that are in front of them if they want to get where they are going. So we'll see how that road trip plays out for the San Diego Padres starting tomorrow. Toronto, Rogers Center, formerly the Sky Dome.
Excruciating for me because I what time does the game start?
4:07.
Little League game
Little League,
starts
yeah.
at 4.
Yeah.
And then team party after.
Oh, well.
I'll be listening.
You won't be locked in as usual.
That's true.
To the game tomorrow.
Damn it.
Paulie and I'll make sure all the holes are covered.
Phil, please cover my holes.
We will
for
cover
me.
your holes.
Thank you, Ben.
All right, Paulie's got his Rindle Report, final headlines of the show. Right after one last check of traffic with Kelly here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change, your 15-minute drive-through oil change. Wrapping up our morning drive with a couple problems along the 78 hit-and-run crash, westbound side, just past College. Appears to be blocking the fast lane. And watch out for some large tire debris reported in lanes, eastbound 78, just past Nordall Road. San Diego, before you cruise out this Memorial Day, stop by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. No appointment needed, just 15 minutes, and your road trip ready. Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Experts you can trust. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for coupons. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Rindle Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Rindle Report with Paul Rindle.
Hi, Paul. All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Rindle Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a oh yeah? Oh yeah.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Happy Monday, gentlemen. How we doing?
Fantastic.
All right.
A
Let's
lot
get
of hole
started.
talk.
A lot of hole talk. One hole that the San Francisco 49ers do not have to worry about for the foreseeable future is a hole at quarterback on their depth chart. They have agreed to a long-term extension with Brock Purdy, a 5-year, $265 million deal. I believe this was reported on Friday afternoon with Adam Schefter breaking the news. 5 years, 265. That includes $181 million in overall guaranteed bucks. And I was reading here, of course, Brock Purdy, he is known as Mr. Irrelevant. He was the last pick in the 2022 NFL draft. 3 years later, nearly $300 million to his name. Says here on ESPN.com that Purdy earned $2.6 million total over his first 3 NFL seasons. That made him the NFL's 76th highest paid quarterback over that span. And now his new contract will have an average salary of $53 million a year.
So the argument can be made, and I'm not saying it's true, but you can certainly make the argument that Brock Purdy was the most underpaid player in football. A quarterback, competent, led his team to the playoffs, or Super Bowl. I mean, he was more than anything they could have dreamed of, and playing for next to nothing.
Yeah.
And now you can make the argument might be the most overpaid player in football. At $55 million a year, a guy who was taken as Mr. Irrelevant and is honestly, a lot of people don't think good enough to put a team on his back. He's as good as the surrounding weapons that he has. Again, that's kind of Brock Purdy slander, but you can certainly make that argument. Woods, I don't know about you. Would you rather be known for being massively underpaid or massively overpaid?
Overpaid.
You want to be overpaid.
So much.
Well, the good part about being overpaid, of course, is the money.
Yeah.
It's really, really good for being overpaid. But Everything else, the expectations from fans, the organization, probably internally.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing really changes for Brock Purdy. He comes back. He's the quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers. The exact same job he's been doing. But I think it's always easier in your own mind to know, hey, I'm doing a great job. Plus, I'm getting underpaid for this. They should feel lucky to have me at this price. All of a sudden, you come back and you go, I'm making $55 million. I need to do more. I'm not carrying my weight. I need to do so much more than I was doing. He really can't do any more than he's been doing. He's just still the quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers. Can't really probably study more film. Can't really do anything else. But now he's getting paid 50 plus times what he was getting paid to do the exact same job.
It's the interesting thing about the NFL salary cap. You know, you look at it and you go, man, look at the top 10 paid quarterbacks in the league. And you're like, I don't know, I'd want like 4 of those guys to be the quarterback of our team if we had one, honestly. That's just what happens because there's so few of them to go around. It's just
when it's your turn, you're going to break the record of
exactly
most guaranteed money or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't want to, again, like he knows the offense. Yes, you could absolutely let him walk. You could 100% let him walk, stay in that San Francisco 49er vein of, no, we're not going to overpay for a quarterback. We're just going to, we'll draft a guy, develop a guy. We'll get Kirk Cousins, even though he's massively overpaid, man. You know what I'm saying? Some journeyman to come in and run the offense, hand the ball off to Christian McCaffrey. But they for whatever reason, thought this is our guy. We're kind of backed in this corner. We have to do it.
I mean, if Odyssey started paying us, I don't know, $5 million a year to do this job, wouldn't you feel like you need to do more than you had been doing?
No doubt.
I would.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling. That would be awful. You think I'm bad now?
New YouTube shows and everything.
That'd be new round tables and stuff, all that. Yeah,
daily round table.
I mean, imagine how bad you would feel if you made $5 million a year for this job, and you're like, I got a migraine. I'm not coming in today. You know what I mean? Sorry,
it would be tough.
It's terrible.
He made $2.6 million total over 3 years,
and got his ass handed to him, like physically. It's
2.6 million. He'll make 2.9 million a week now with this new deal. That's just crazy. That is nuts. All right, that's it for sports. Want to talk about this story. Now, we talk a lot about trends and weird or funny videos that we find off of the internet, and a lot of those come from TikTok. So I know there's a lot of parents out there who may have children who are addicted to TikTok, or at least spend more time than they would like their children to be on TikTok. And TikTok is rolling out a new feature they've just announced over the weekend. It's a new feature that will prompt teenagers to stop scrolling and start meditating instead. So if your kid is on TikTok after 10 p.m., they will see an alert in their For You feed that offers guided meditation, like a meditation program to help them fall asleep. And then if they continue to keep scrolling, they'll get hit with a second prompt that fills out the entire screen.
If there's one thing I know that kids like, is they like being told to stop doing something and start doing something more healthy for them. That's one thing I have learned.
But you don't want to do it when your parents tell you to do it. Now TikTok's telling you to do it.
And I guess if TikTok tells you, it must be gospel.
I don't know. They have, our phones have the screen time feature.
Yeah.
We could look at it at the end of the week. I completely ignore it. I don't get the notification.
I don't want to see it.
I don't want to know how much time I spent on my screen this week.
It's the worst because
it's not going to change my behavior. It's just going to make me feel worse about myself.
Yeah, it's hard because I'm a massive hypocrite. Massive. My wife is as well, and it's truly like I'm going to be a hypocrite when I tell my son, hey, get off your phone. It's less screen time. He's going to be like, you're joking. You're joking right now. And be like, do as I say, not as I do, pal. Because we've discussed at length. He will not have a smartphone until he's 18 years old. We don't care what he says. He's going to have the flip phone that he can call, text. It's not going to be pics of his wiener flying around or anything like that. Like both of them. Like we can't have it, man. Cannot risk it. All that stuff. Like. And as much as we like to spoil our kids, that's just one thing we are like dug in about, because I can't have my kids on screens for 16 hours a day. I just can't. Like, anytime they get a screen, they just their brain
turn
rots.
into zombies.
They're zombies.
Yeah. TikTok Communications said a couple of days ago, today we're launching an in-app guided meditation exercises for our entire community and expanding our mental health education fund to $7.3 million. These updates build on our work to champion well-being and enhance reliable mental health information from trusted sources on TikTok. The parent company, they tested the feature out with a handful of teenagers earlier in the year and said only 2% of teenagers turned that feature off.
Interesting.
So they were at least aware of it and using it a little bit. Everybody will get it on their TikTok feed automatically, and it'll be available for adults too. But if you're under 18 on your account, it'll be turned on by default.
It's honestly part of the reason that not all, but part of the reason why I didn't go down the TikTok rabbit hole was because I've heard that it is like the world's biggest time suck. Now, I used to have a lot of time on Twitter. I mean, a lot of time on Twitter, a lot of time on Instagram. Those are massive time. I'm like, I can't add another time suck to my already time sucked screen addicted day.
See, I use obviously X, Twitter a lot, but I feel like it's always to further like my job. I'm not doing it for entertainment.
Oh, I like to mess with people.
I don't do that so much. I'm just looking for news and
I like to make
stories
people
constantly.
mad.
Now, do I spend a lot of time on there? Yeah, I do. But I don't do it like just for my personal edification. I feel like I'm doing it to stay up on topics and current events and
of course,
sports, which I think is okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then finally, I got a story here out of Pennsylvania. Now, when I was in elementary school, one of my favorite days was always when it was somebody's birthday, because when you were a kid, you always had to bring, 30 cupcakes or 30 whatever, like enough for the class, and we celebrated your birthday that
Devil's
day.
food cake cupcakes.
Devil's food
like,
cake.
oh, great. It's Ben's birthday again. I guess we all have to suck down this disgusting devil's food.
Now, I don't know if this was actually a birthday celebration or not, but there is an investigation underway at a Pennsylvania school district, the Greater Johnstown School District, after a kindergarten student at the elementary school brought some Jell-O for their students.
Okay.
And they were
a parent
provided, sent their kid to school with treats for the class.
Jell-O.
And they were Jell-O.
Love Jell-O.
In small cups.
Yeah.
They were Jell-O shots.
Jell-O shots. Like Jell-O shots as well.
That's inappropriate.
Probably not good idea for kindergartners, but the superintendent of the school district said once staff learned about this situation, immediate action was taken. All of the kindergartners were taken to the nurse's office for evaluation, and then out of an abundance of caution, EMS was called and took all the kids to a local hospital because they had just devoured a bunch of Jell-O shots, alcoholic Jell-O shots.
How many Jell-O shots would it take to get my 7-year-old drunk? One,
maybe two.
One
would get him down the road pretty good.
It's been ages, bro.
Two, you'd probably be pretty toasted at 7.
College, it was such a college bit, just sucking the Jell-O.
I don't know how much alcohol is in a Jell-O.
It depends.
shot.
I think it depends. Sometimes you taste me, you're like, dude, what
It's up
is
to the
your
dealer.
problem?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's up to the dealer. Dealer's choice.
Are you watering it down or not?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you need
put it this
some
way.
water or it won't gel, right?
Right.
You can't
If
just
Ben
have
brought
straight
Jell-O
vodka.
shots, or if Woods brought Jell-O
They'd
shots,
probably taste
they would
different.
probably taste a little bit different.
Probably would.
Mine would be very Jell-O forward.
Yeah, Jell-O forward. Mine would be more vodka forward. I do like them, though.
Paulie, thank you very much.
Thank you,
You are
Paulie.
very welcome.
We totally dropped the ball on a favor that was asked of us from down the hall. So I'm going to,
Whoops.
tomorrow, we're going to have our friend John Flint in, but I want to let
We
everybody
forgot
know
about that?
what they're doing. Right now at KSON, John and Tammy Service Pet for a Vet, they are trying to raise $35,000 to provide a service pet for a local veteran with PTSD. Can be very helpful. It's just it's a battle buddy, they call them, right by their side. You can go to odyssey.com/KSON to find some details on how they are trying to raise money, but they share some stories throughout the week of experiences that vets have and how much these service animals can actually help and change their lives.
No doubt.
I wanted to make sure we get the message out today that you can start doing that, look into that. If you want to wait until tomorrow when John comes and tells some of his own stories, we will definitely have him in studio, but it's all this week. They're doing their John and Tammy Service Pet for a Vet. It's a really good cause, and it takes that much to actually train the proper kind of animal, get it to the right, person. So, I mean, it's very costly, and they ask all their listeners to just help out with a little bit doing it this week. So wanted to make sure we at least mentioned it before we got off the air today and turned things over to Braden.
Definitely. And obviously the off night tonight. So what's on the agenda? I always like to ask, what are we watching tonight? Have you finished the shooting guards yet?
Yeah, shooting guards was really good. You're right. I do feel really bad for Javaris Crittenden, kind of, even though
yes and no.
He certainly made mistakes.
Well, if you haven't watched it yet, it's on Netflix. It's called Shooting Guards. It's about Javaris Crittenden and Gilbert Arenas. And you remember the incident with the gun in the locker room, guns, plural. It's really well done. It's really eye-opening.
I found myself sympathizing
I did
with
too.
somebody that had a pretty gnarly
I know.
history.
I would have been driven crazy if Gilbert Arenas was my teammate and I had
No
to deal
doubt.
with him every day.
I would have lost my mind.
I would have too.
Yeah, I fully got where he was coming
No,
from.
I wouldn't have gone the length that Crittenden
now
you
did,
would have
but-
sent a strongly worded email to HR.
Gilbert Arenas nowadays would be considered the vibes guy.
Yeah,
the
just
jokester,
vibes
the
guy.
prankster.
Exactly.
But there's a level that you can go too far.
It's too far. Go watch it tonight.
I kind of want to start Wrexham again. I love that show. I really do. It's
All
back
right.
out with a new season, so I might do that tonight. All right, that's it for us. Thank you to Paulie Randall, our executive producer, Stephen Woods. I'm Ben Higgins. Braden's coming up next. We'll be back tomorrow at 6 a.m. for more Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. So long, everybody.